What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your more phenomenal host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus More Phenomenal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman news and reviews, streaming live over on our YouTube page, also streaming over on Facebook, as well as Twitch for you gamers out there, guys. So thank you very much for certainly coming through once again for another episode of A-Plus More Phenomenal, man, kicking off our weekend the right way, as we're going to be diving into a bunch of Power Ranger content for you guys today, even some tokusatsu news. Right off the bat, we're going to be having some Dino Fury Season 2, Episode 6, titled Jam Session. We're going to be doing a little bit of a review, then diving into the live chat and having a little bit of a discussion with you guys. We also have some 30th anniversary Power Ranger news in regards to David Yost, which we tackled earlier on in the week. We certainly might dive into that here just a little bit, plus a ton of Ultraman news for you guys to definitely dive into today. And of course, your guys' live viewer questions that we're certainly going to get to at the end of this episode. If you do have a live viewer question, I think right now we've got like 28 emails. We may be pushing 30 emails today. But if you haven't submitted over your question, if you have already, thank you very much. But if you have not submitted a question, feel free to go ahead and submit it over to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Again, that's aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Going to try and wrap up around 3 o'clock here, hopefully maybe a little bit earlier if we can. I definitely have a meeting to certainly attend to this afternoon. So once it hits 3 o'clock, we'll see exactly where we're at, guys. But yeah, we got a ton of content to definitely go ahead and dive into for you guys. We're also going to be doing a little bit of a Fan First Tuesday recap, if you will, and another piece of information wind up dropping sort of last minute that we might add or tackle on to the very end of this week's show. So a lot to definitely look forward to. Let me go ahead and do some shout outs, because you guys know how we love to do around here, especially if you're taking the time out of your day to go ahead and hang out with us. I love to go ahead and give you guys some shout outs to anybody that's was here before. Let me go ahead and say what's up to everybody. We got John Schuyler in the house today. We got Matthew Rivera. If I did miss any names, I'm not sure if the live chat cut off anybody or not, but if it did, I do apologize. We also got good old Morris Martinez. What's up, Morris? Good to see you in here. Chris Crossman in here. Chris Cross, you wear your clothes backwards, man? I'm kind of curious. Jericho in the house also. We got Tony in here as well. Tony's in the house. Wish I was a Power Ranger. Don't we all? Don't we all? We got Roberto Bueno in here also. I feel like we're getting some fresh names, some new names around these parts. Nicole Robertson, so good to see you, Nicole, as always. Thank you very much for your continued participation. We got Francois in the house. Bonjour. Francois coming to us from France. Thank you very much. Ibase is here today as well. We got good old Michael Rhymes in the house. Carlo Bernardo gracing us with his presence. Mackenzie, top of the morning, back to you. Thank you very much for coming through. Adam Perea, he says, what's up, my twin? You know what time it is. It's morphin' time, as we're going to be getting into a ton of Power Ranger talk today. We got Jackson Peterson. What's good, A+? Hey, man, it's a good weekend. A little overcast and cloudy here in the Fort Worth, Texas area. I don't know if we're going to be getting any rain today or not, but it is, listen, it's Easter weekend, guys. Hopefully you guys had a great Good Friday yesterday. Tomorrow, Easter Sunday. I don't know if you guys are big in the church or if you go to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus himself, but let me know if you guys have any church plans or any plans for Easter tomorrow. Alexander, what's up, Alexander? Good to see you in here. We got Gabriel in the house too. Taylor Hartman gracing us with his presence. Who else we got? Jordan, what's up, man? He says, yo, can't stay, but had to hop in here. I'll be in and out, but another good episode. Thank you very much, Jordan, for letting us know you were here today. Enrique's in the house also. Thank you very much. We got Frankie in here. Sexy Beast. I believe that's AJ as always. Dino Knights, fight for your rights. That's what it should have always been if you ask me. Good old Blossom's in the house. What's up, Blossom? We got Johnny in here too. So Rob joining us today. Nanditha, what's up? I'm doing good. Thank you very much for asking. We got good old Doomsday in the house. Datilla gracing us with her presence too. And of course, good old Edward Sanchez Productions, man. It's so good to see everybody's familiar faces, fresh and new faces, guys, thank you so much for certainly joining us. And listen, if you want to go ahead and continue to communicate with us, be a part of our A plus community, if you will, there are plenty of other ways to do that instead of just being subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you would like to keep contact with us outside of YouTube, feel free to go ahead and join our Discord forum community. There is a link in the description box below. It's a great place for us to certainly communicate outside of YouTube, and we have a plethora of different topics to certainly talk about over on our forum community. Doesn't necessarily have to be Power Ranger related. There's plenty of other stuff that we certainly talk about on there also. Just ask Dattila and a bunch of other people that certainly have joined us over there. So if you would like to go ahead and continue to follow up with us, make sure you're getting all the channel updates. Again, feel free to join us over on our Discord forum, as well as subscribe to the channel if you'd like. Another channel update for the newbies, because listen, man, let me be honest with you. A couple of weeks ago, we did announce the idea of A Plus More Phenomenal sort of shutting down its doors or closing its doors within the next couple of weeks. I think we might have about 5 weeks or so after this episode here. I continue to see our subscriber count rise. And listen, I love the fact that everybody continues to jump on board the channel. It does make it even a little bit more bittersweet that we're saying farewell to the channel here in the next couple of weeks. But just as a channel update and as a reminder, while we certainly appreciate the support and the continued subscriptions, within the next 5 weeks or so, afterwards, we will be transitioning over our Power Ranger talk from the A Plus More Phenomenal website to our other website, A Plus Hero Report. Well, we will simply just be talking Power Ranger news. Anytime anything winds up dropping, we'll certainly be adding that to our show topics and things like that throughout the weeks. So if anything, we got about maybe 5 or so weeks left here. But if you do want to continue to follow me in regards to my thoughts about Power Rangers, I would suggest following us over on A Plus Hero Report as well. And there is a link in the description box below for you guys to definitely go ahead and check it out. Side mention here, good old Sexy B says, have you finished Supergirl yet? No, I have not finished Supergirl yet. Who else we got in here? We got Marcelino certainly coming through today. Good to see you, buddy. S. Karoma's in the house too. Good old video DVD. So thank you very much, guys. And yes, while I haven't finished Supergirl yet, I will get around to it, but there's just so much television on. You guys notice that? I feel like there's just so much content and stuff to certainly watch these days, and it's starting to become a little bit overwhelming. Like I've got like 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 different like streaming services, and there's just so much content. Like I don't even know where to begin, what to finish off, sort of thing. There's so many things I feel like I start but don't finish, whether it just doesn't capture my attention enough. Who certainly knows? But I probably should just stop watching anything new and just finish off this finale for Supergirl. I literally have like a 2-hour episode certainly left. So maybe I should just bite the bullet, grab my tissues, sit in a dark room, stuff my face with chocolates, and just cry at the ending of Supergirl. I may just do that, just eat my sorrow and feelings away. Who else we got? We got Sherman Wallace in the house. Good to see you, Indy. Thank you very much, man. Hopefully you join us for A Plus Hero Report tomorrow. We got a ton of great topics, guys. But with that out of the way, so all the channel updates, guys, again, we appreciate all the great faces. If you do want to continue to support our channel, remember, A Plus More Phenomenal shutting down in about 5 weeks, at least when it comes to the weekly episodes. If you still want to follow my thoughts on Power Rangers, I highly recommend you subscribe to A Plus Hero Report. There is a link in the description box below for you guys. But let's go ahead and get into this week's episode, man. I got my coffee. Hopefully you guys, whether you're coffee drinkers, or orange juice drinkers, maybe you're drinking something else wherever you certainly are. It might be 5 p.m. somewhere, but go ahead, sit back, relax, kick your feet up, and let's talk some Power Rangers, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So let me just see if there's any last minute people. Yes, good old Mikey wind up coming in. Thank you very much, man, for certainly gracing us with your presence today. And if you guys are in the live chat, if you continue to join us on a weekly basis, do me a big favor, man. Hit that like button. That like button really does go a long way. But let's go ahead and knock this out of the park, guys, when it comes to Dino Fury, as we continue along with season 2, as we chug along and make our way through the first part of this season, currently available over on Netflix. If you guys have not had the opportunity to check out Power Rangers Dino Fury, I highly recommend that you do. Seasons 1 and the first half of season 2 are available for you over on Netflix. Maybe this is your first time jumping back into the Power Ranger fandom. Maybe you've fallen off since you were a kid and wanting to come back in. Maybe you've been hearing some rumblings of some great things that are certainly happening when it comes to Power Rangers. Dino Fury is definitely one of them. So I hope you guys are enjoying this season so far, as I certainly am, as we dive into Jam Session Season 2, Episode number 6. And can I be honest with you guys, this was probably my favorite episode of this season so far. You guys know, ever since the first season, one of the storylines that I've been really wanting to tackle and to kind of come see full circle was definitely the Warden Garcia and Javi storyline. And the fact that we got the opportunity to tackle it as much as we did in here really works for me. I was so incredibly pleased with what we got. And I really continue to love the way that Simon Bennett, along with the writers, really handle these situations between these kids along with their parents. It is very much very refreshing to kind of see the idea of parents acknowledging, eventually understanding who their kids are, and really just being extremely supportive. I mean, we've seen that with the Izzy character and her mom just recently from prom night, the struggle of Izzy growing up as a girl, not wanting to be all dressy sort of thing, her mom having to adapt and understand who her daughter is. And we're kind of seeing that here when it comes to Warden Garcia at the end in regards to accepting Javi for not only who he is, but his incredible musical talent. And so the fact that we had these two characters clash, come full circle once again, have some apologies and some understanding, really worked for me, right? So this episode, we get the opportunity to see Warden Garcia reminding Javi that he's got a very important medal ceremony for his job. I believe he's going to be awarded an award of some sort here, and he winds up coming into Buzz Blast while Javi is in fact working and practicing on his music again. And of course, we get the immediate eye rolling here from Warden Garcia, similar to what we got last time, a little bit of a scolding like, what are you doing? Like, how is my son just the most laziest person in the world? Here you go again, messing around with a bunch of instruments, not sharing what you want to do with them, just having fun, yada, 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 not really doing anything sort of thing. It's that constant pushback. Yet, on one side, we definitely see Warden Garcia wanting Javi to definitely support him and what he's doing. Now, shout out to the Screaming Zombies in this episode. Quick honorable mention, as Buzz Blast winds up having a musical guest on this week. And their lead singer, what a douchebag, huh? I mean, talk about a jerk, just the way that he talks to everybody. Like, I love the fact that Javi even went up to them like, do you talk to your bandmates like that and stuff? And, the leader tries to make it in the sense of like, yeah, being a leader of a band's pretty hard, almost like he's got to mold them and shape them into doing what he wants them to do, sort of thing. Just a really sort of messed up mentality in here. But I do love the fact that we do see Javi discovering yet another Dino key that the lead singer has in his he's got to himself, if you will. I love the moment where we get the opportunity to see the Power Rangers asking the band member to go ahead and hand over the Dino key. But in return, for the Dino key, the singer does need Javi to go ahead and be his guitarist in here, since his guitarist wind up bailing on him, if you will, or quitting on the team, which honestly, I don't blame him based off of just the attitude of the singer and all the, all the comments he wind up making about Homeboy's hair sort of thing. So he wind up leaving them short of a guitarist, and Javi winds up jumping into that position. But of course, with the conflict that we see, Javi needs to be somewhere at 2:00, and now he's got to perform. And that's one of the things that I have really always enjoyed about Power Rangers is I really like to see sort of that conflict of how does a Power Ranger balance out his responsibilities of his life, considering the responsibilities that he has of being a Power Ranger, right? And so at the end of the day, the idea of being a Power Ranger certainly overcomes and trumps all, if you will. I feel like we've definitely have seen that quite some time in the Power Ranger lore. And so Izzy decides, hey, you know what, bro? I'm a cover for you. You do this guitar gig because we really need this Dino key. And that's definitely the route that Javi goes. And I don't blame Javi for going this route. I'm really glad that he did, because it clearly was an eye-opening experience for him. And for me too, for I think us as viewers to be able to get the opportunity to see Chance Perez, the artist that he certainly is, and the talented dude that he certainly is, be able to just shred it on the guitar and giving us a great little solo in the Screaming Zombie song that they wind up having. I really love seeing the reaction of the entire cast there as they get the opportunity to listen to Chance play the guitar guitar, I would assume that it's him actually playing the guitar and him not just hitting random chords and it be like something playing over him sort of thing. I really do. I mean, I would assume based off of just how talented Chance is with whether that be singing or instruments, that he probably performed this to some capacity. If I, I haven't been told otherwise, so I'm going to be under the impression that this was definitely Chance here. And it was so cool to get the opportunity to see him really pull it off and do exactly what was needed for the Rangers to get the Dino key that they needed at the end. I will say this though, if there was an eye sort of rolling moment in here, it had to be Izzy blowing Javi's spot. I mean, like you're literally at the award ceremony to support your dad to cover for Javi. Why literally after the award ceremony are you going to be 2 feet away from your father and try and sneak watch your brother perform? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you want to be a supportive sister, but come on, Izzy. Like, I know you're smarter than that, right? Like, you can't go inside the building. Hey, guys, I got to run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back and go and watch sort of thing. So while Izzy had the great mentality of trying to trying to protect her brother, the idea that she fails miserably and blowing up his spot all at the same time, it kind of made me laugh and roll my eyes a little bit that Izzy would do something so foolish like that. But I will say it did lead to a really great moment, a great confrontation where Javi actually really stands up for himself. And I'm really pleased to kind of see him do that instead of having his dad continue to just belittle him, if you will, right? The idea of trying to make it feel like his ceremony was more important than anything that Javi certainly else had to do in his life. And the fact that Javi calls him a hypocrite in wanting that support, but not giving your own son that support. I thought it was pretty bone chilling and kind of gave me chills to be like, okay, Javi, standing up to your dad. I love it. But I also want to give props to Jane where credit is due here. The fact that she found it upon herself to go ahead and interject once Javi leaves to kind of show Warren Garcia, like, maybe you should be a little bit kinder to your son or a little bit more understanding. Because had you been here and see what your son was actually capable of doing, you might have a much bigger and better appreciation for it. And Warden Garcia definitely does after he winds up checking it out. So the fact that we got father and son finally on the same page, father really wanting to support his son, understanding that it's a passion and it's a love for him sort of thing. I guess granted, the idea of seeing him in concert actually perform is significantly different than the idea of him just seeing him play on a bunch of musical instruments and not sticking with one thing. But to see that all that fun and playing around has really paid off, I got to think as Warden Garcia, you certainly have a completely different mindset to it. What I wasn't expecting, though, was maybe Javi's understanding of maybe seeing where his father was coming from a little bit more, right? I feel like when it comes to Warren Garcia, it's really an idea of a focus. And while I think he sees that Javi loves to play instruments in general, I think Javi also understands that, especially after his own performance, seeing what he's capable of, there is a level of confidence, a level of belief in yourself that, you know what, maybe this is something that I can do as a career. And I love the fact that when Warren Garcia drops the term career, he does the very high school student sort of thing, right? Like, oh, that's kind of a scary word. That is pretty intimidating, especially being somebody maybe so young that he's supposed to be portraying here, and the idea of already looking at what your goals for life as you get older are going to be, right? The idea of pursuing something along those careers, if you will. So I love the fact that Javi's willing to take that challenge, understands where his father was kind of coming from also, but really being more determined now than ever to really focus his sights on making this something even bigger than it was before. And I think that's definitely got to make his dad relatively happy. So I continue to love the idea of Simon Bennett and the writers really working around our characters' personalities and having their parents, if you will, make the necessary changes, understanding their kids, and everybody really being on the same page and giving us that happy ending that we really deserve between Garcia, was it Carlos Garcia, I believe his name is, Carlos, along with his son Javi. So great stuff, man. Really great stuff when we that we wind up getting between there. I thought it was a little bit more of animosity towards Javi. Even the whole thing with in season 1 when he got upset at the idea that Javi wasn't hurt but Izzy was. It felt like there was even more context behind that than just sort of a music thing, right? I'm okay with what we wind up getting in here. It really did satisfy me as a viewer, and for somebody that wanted to see that squashed and really figure it out a little bit more. I've really enjoyed seeing just the Garcia family in general and how everybody's really been handling the situations they found themselves in. So great stuff when it comes to Javi along with Garcia and honestly, Javi for me was truly the spotlight of this episode. I mean, the fact that this man almost pretty much did everything, right? Like even Izzy at the end was kind of complimenting him on everything that he wind up achieving in here. Getting the opportunity to see original footage of Javi rocking the Smash armor was really great. Seeing him, rescue the Terra Free Zord that we wind up having this week's episode. Also, he single-handedly took out Doom Snake too, if I'm not mistaken. There's some great original fight footage. I love that idea of him doing the uppercut, punching him in the air, and then following him with the jump, and then punching him down to the ground. Great explosions, landing, superhero landings and stuff. I mean, it had everything that I could ask for. So Javi being the spotlight of this episode really did it for me. This is honestly, this is probably my favorite episode that we wind up getting here this season so far. Let's also talk a little bit about Santoro, or should I call her now good old Void Queen, as we begin this episode with Santoro really amazed by the power of the Sporix, and really, really wants more. She truly believes that that it is one of those things that the sporks will significantly make them stronger in order to exact the revenge that Santoro certainly needs. But again, we're continuing to see the pushback that Tarek winds up giving. He really doesn't want any revenge. Homeboy just wants to get off this planet safely with the love of his life and go about his business and living his life, if you will. But it's really Santoro that has been consumed by power, if you will. I do wonder if there's a part of me that wants to think that Santoro wasn't always like this. I do wonder if it's the idea of being powered up by the Sporix all across season one, that this power has sort of now manipulated her and changed her into something that maybe even Tarek doesn't recognize. And the fact that Santoro wakes up and she now sort of realizes the power of what has brought her back to this particular point in time, she realizes that she can easily be so much more. And the fact that she goes behind Void Knight's back to power up the machine, absorb even more power than even maybe her own body can certainly withstand, literally changing the way that she certainly looks. I love the reaction of Tarek in here, almost like he was terrified as to certainly what he was looking at. The fact of almost like this person that he came to know and love changing right before his eyes, and having a completely different motivation and mindset than what he certainly is. This definitely feels as though it's come to a head between Santoro and Void Knight. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be some pushback, and both these characters not on the same page. So, will we see a Void Queen versus Void Knight briefly? You guys probably already know. I don't, since I haven't dabbled into episode 7 as of yet. But I am definitely expecting some pushback between these two characters in here. But she looks great. The idea of them reusing the Madame Noir costume from Tokuger, I thought was a perfect choice. I think goes extremely well with the Void Knight costume. So I'd be really fascinated to kind of see how Void Queen is utilized for the remainder of this season. But I was definitely a very big fan, as we also get to see the Void Knight utilizing the Zord Jammer in this week's episode to stop our Rangers from being able to call in their Zords. But that definitely doesn't stop them, does it? Whatsoever, because we did get some great, some other honorable mentions in here that I wanted to throw out, like Dino keys. We did get ourselves the Freeze Dino key, along with that, which activates the Terra Free Zord. And then, of course, we wind up getting the Smash Zord, getting the opportunity to see that back in action in here. But honestly, Zato utilizing the Freeze armor, though, my God, it looked incredible. I mean, even going along with the action, I mean, the action in here was bonkers, too, whether that be original footage or even a great blend of original and Super Sentai footage. That Void Knight fight between Zato Ion and Void Knight was great, but it even just went up a whole nother notch once we introduced the Terra, or the freeze armor, if you will. It kind of reminded me very much of Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger, and what Zamigo was able to do as a character. Just the fights that we've had between Zamigo and Kyrie from Lupin Pat were unbelievable. So to be able to kind of see that freeze or that ice um, graphic and animation utilized again in here was just so goddamn smooth. I mean, the idea of seeing that sword just like ice up Void Knight's sword, getting the opportunity to see him just come slashing down with the ice sword as well that he wind up creating, just beautiful. I mean, that's one of the things about Real Soldier that I always complimented them on, despite the fact that I was not a fan of the series itself. The Zord action always blew me away, and the action sequences were amazing. And the fact that we get the opportunity to really utilize those sequences for Dino Fury continues to impress, man. Continues to impress and really just bolster a great show that's been fantastic when it comes to its character work and storyline. And you add great action on top of it. Yeah, man, it's no wonder that Dino Fury has been doing one hell of a job. So yeah, not only getting the opportunity to see the freeze armor in play, but getting the opportunity to see the Terra freeze mode, or the battle mode in here also for the Terra freeze Zord was incredible. Getting the opportunity to see Zato flying alongside of it, the battle mode. I mean, it looked absolutely incredible. This is probably one of my favorite Zords that we certainly have this season. But yeah, man, I continue to be impressed. The action was definitely there. The Dino Keys and the power ups work. I continue to love the Void Knight and the Void Queen storyline, and finally getting that opportunity to see Javi and Warden Garcia squash their beef. It's everything that I certainly could have asked for and more, guys. But yeah, man, excellent episode for sure. One of my favorites, but at the end of the day, I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts. What did you guys think of episode number 6? If there's anything that I missed, though, character moments, storyline details, Easter eggs that you guys want to go ahead and bring to my attention, let's go ahead and definitely continue this discussion. And let me hear what you guys said. You know, one of the last note, I will say one of the things that I really enjoyed too was the editing choice that they had here of editing between the performance and the medal ceremony. So to kind of see Javi's performance and then flipping back to see his dad getting the award with the music sort of trailing off when we go back to Warden Garcia a little bit, it kind of heightened the intensity of how important that particular moment was for Javi and Warden Garcia and for this particular episode. So I really enjoyed how it was certainly handled, as yeah, Javi does his thing, man. So shout out to Chance Perez for having a hell of a performance here in this week's episode, not only showing his musical talent, but even just some of his emotional side as an actor, being able to have that father-son talk and relationship. You know, there were certain moments in here where definitely looked like Chance was drawing upon some tears for the Javi character. Even though he didn't cry, his eyes definitely looked a little bit watered and a little teary-eyed just because of how sentimental of a moment that was between father and son. And that's the type of stuff that really pulls at my heartstrings, to be perfectly honest with you guys. So I really love moments like that. But look, guys, I want to know your thoughts. So let's go ahead and transition over to our live discussion aspect of this episode, and let me know what you guys certainly thought about it. Doomsday said, I literally stood up and cheered when Javi finally stood up to his dad for being a hypocrite. Listen, you know what, Doomsday, if I can be honest, there were so many times in this episode where I literally got out of my seat or I was like screaming out of pure excitement. Like my girlfriend was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, babe. I'm just really surprised as to like how much reaction this episode was drawing from me. Because I'm like you, like I got pumped when Javi started doing his solo. I was like, let's go, Javi. Like I was so happy seeing the Terra Freezord when they were fighting. I was like, oh, I kid you not, man. I was so so animated with this particular episode. I just think they just hit on everything that I could possibly have asked for in this episode, from the emotions to the action. Yeah, it literally got me out of my seat. And so that's how I know it was a fantastic episode for me personally. Mikey says, I love this episode. That way Javi dad treated was so cringe and disrespectful. I totally agree with you, man. I thought it was cringe and disrespectful the first time that we saw it in season 1. So to kind of see that same animosity carry over here in the season 2 and Javi actually step up to his dad and call him out, I was like, oh shit, I can't believe he just called him out. But it needed to be said. It needed to be said. And again, shout out to Jane for really stepping in and having an outside voice kind of mediate things in the sense of like, maybe you should really see how good your son is. Cause I don't think you even know, right? Like, I think Garcia just thought, he's just, stringing on some chords here or there, sort of thing, or hitting some keys randomly and not taking it seriously. But clearly, Javi has definitely been practicing. So, yeah, I love this episode too, Mike. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Blossom says Javi did good thing standing up to that dingus of a dad of his. Nicole, fun fact: the guitarist is named Blair, not to Blair Strong, aka Warden Garcia's actor. Crazy that the Rangers actually confronted Blair. Rangers basically threatened a civilian. I wouldn't say they threatened him. I mean, granted, Izzy was like, now. She wanted that damn Dino key now. Look, Blair was an asshole. Blair was a little bit of a jerk in this episode for sure. I don't think they threatened him. Like if they had said or else, then maybe that was a threat. But I don't think he said or else. It's like, hey, we need that Ranger key. And Izzy's like, now. I mean, maybe firm. I don't know if it's a threat, but firm for sure. JB says, what is here too? Thank you very much, man. Marcelino says, I like the moment where Jane shows Warden Garcia footage of Javi performing. It felt like a human moment. I totally agree with you. Jane doesn't need to be the joke character all the time. You're absolutely right. It definitely was a very humanistic side to Jane in here, and it really worked for me. It really worked for me. Gabriel says, yeah, I thought it was a dumb moment when Izzy pulled out her phone front of Warden. To me, it shows Izzy is sometimes not bright. It's why I rolled my eyes, because I feel like I understand when I say, like, sometimes I feel like the writers write these characters to be dumb just so that a convenient thing can happen to move the story along. Like, I feel Izzy is so much brighter than that moment that she just had that the writers literally made her a numbskull just for that brief 5 minutes of her life in order to progress with the storyline. Like, I do wonder if there's other ways that information could have been revealed, because just the way that they've characterized Izzy all season long, not to say that she's never made a mistake in her life, but this was so blatantly obvious that you don't do. You know what I mean? That I just think that Izzy's a little bit smarter of a character like that, especially when it comes to maybe having to protect her brother. So I agree with you, Gabriel. It was a little bit of a dumb moment for sure. Marcelino says, I didn't like in the end where Javi realizes that his father was right in terms of you can't do music. What's wrong with doing music for fun? It feels like a weird and unnecessary character development. I get where you're coming from, Marcelino. I definitely do get where you're coming from also. But I think for Javi, and you're right, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing music for fun. And I think that's exactly what Javi was doing. But I do think it's not necessarily him agreeing with his dad to show weakness or a sense of, yeah, I should listen to you more, dad. I think it comes from an inner, I believe it comes from his own experience of now having been on stage, right? I think it's the case of he probably would have continued to just do music for fun and continue to do things the way that he wanted to. But the fact that an opportunity presented himself and now he got thrusted into being a performance and a performer and seeing what he can really do. I don't want to say on the big stage, but literally on a stage with another band. I got to think that it's a little bit more eye-opening for him too, you know? So I get the idea of him maybe agreeing with his dad to a certain extent because it's something that he realized, not so much something that Warden Garcia's beliefs or thoughts of his son imprinted on him. You know what I mean? So for that reason alone of Javi saying, maybe this is something I want to do as a career because it's something that Javi experienced firsthand and it's his decision, nobody else's. And so for me, it works out that way for me. Blossom says, I love how the freeze dino key was used today. Sure put the sporks on ice. Am I right? I see what you did there, Blossom. I loved it. Yeah, man, that freeze dino key was badass. It was absolutely badass. I forgot how cool it was, honestly. Blossom says, "I'll give this episode an A plus 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 plus." Yeah, I'll give this episode an A plus for sure. Definitely will. Video DVD says it was a great episode, Javi episode. I'm glad he and his father understood each other. And boy, Bert Selling has done it once again. The Terror Freeze battle theme was amazing. It definitely was amazing. I'm glad you brought up Bert Selling, who's done an amazing job in here, really being able to pull at the emotions for really great epic moments. And it did even seem like we got ourselves a little bit of original Zord footage too from the Terra Zord Freeze Zord. You know, there's a scene at the end of the very end of the battle where he poses in front of the buildings and the buildings de-ice. I don't remember that being in Real Soldier. That feels very much like original footage. Definitely let me know. And I do wonder if it was the original footage too of Zato flying in this episode. There was a brief moment where it's like he's only in half the scene as he's talking to his comm, but it looks like he's flying. That felt like original footage also. Let me know where you guys saw some of the original footage in this episode, but thank you for bringing up Bert Selling for sure. Oh, let's see here. Blossom says, I got to admit, despite my pushbacks, I got to say it was cool how they put Madame Noir here in Dino Fury. Yeah, it was a super easy transition, right? The opportunity of having Santora morph into her due to the ability of the Sporex and just the power that they certainly present. Again, I kind of want to see what Santora was like before. Like, I wonder if we'll have a Void Knight flashback moment to kind of not only learn a little bit more about him, but to kind of see how him and Santora got to the point that we're in. Because it does feel very much like the power of the Sporex has manipulated her, and now that she is awake, she feels the power coursing through her, and she certainly needs more of it. And I also really love that sequence in the sense of seeing Void Knight and Void Queen talking amongst each other, because I really love seeing Void Knight's explanation as to why he wears, I don't want to say why he wears the masks, the Void Knight mask, but understanding how crucial his showing of strength is to his other comrades, and the fact that he thinks that these monsters like Mucus and Slither would turn their back on him and trying to destroy him if they thought he was anything other than an actual monster or creature out for revenge, right? So it definitely feels like Void Knight is very much on a tightrope here, trying to play both sides to a certain extent to get what he wants. And I'm kind of curious to see how this is all going to play out for him. Edward Sanchez says, Chance did a great job in this episode. Totally agree. I thought Chance was great in here. The Tower's free Zord is coolio, says Edward Sanchez Productions. I totally agree, man. Mikey says, I always loved separate Zords. Yeah, me too. The Tower Zord, the fact that it can be its own battle mode. I always love, I'm the same way with you of Zords that are able to become their own battle formations. Ram Jam, good to see you, man. What's up? Good to see you. We got Byron in here today too. He says this was a great episode. Yeah, it's my favorite of the season so far. Francois says, without spoiling, how do you think Zato gets his battleizer? You know, that's a good question. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was in Real Soldier. I believe it was given to, Ko from Nada upon his death. Like when he was on his deathbed, he kind of did he transfer it to him? I can't remember how the power set. Something tells me it was transferred to him. So I don't know. I don't know if a Void Knight meets his demise at the hands of Void Queen and he passes it on, or if Tarek has a bigger role to play throughout the remainder of this season. I feel like we're getting rather close. Like I feel like the fate of Void Knight will at least be showcased to us at least by the end of this first half of the season, just based off of the amount of footage. But then again, they definitely have taken their liberties and utilizing original footage for Void Knight this season. But I'll be interested. I don't know. That's a good question, Francois. I'm stumped right now to see, but I'm excited. Nicole says, I'm so incredibly happy that Javi and his dad got their issues resolved. I love that we got to see Izzy's mom again. I prefer them over Nate's parents and Beast Morphers who just left. Yeah, I'm really enjoying just the Garcia family as a whole. The fact that we've got two kids, a mom and a dad. We've got an opportunity to see prom night moments, award ceremony moments between them and how they handle their kids and stuff. It's really cool to kind of see their interaction. I hope it continues here. Like Dr. Akana was definitely the mom that was a part of everything in season one. Maybe it's the Garcia family that will have more hands on come season two. So Rob says that's the type of episode Jane and Jay Borg should have, maybe more humanistic instead of um, the comedy aspect. You say, yeah, the slapstick is decent at times, but Jane could do so much more. And we got the opportunity to certainly see that in here also. Sexy B says, Jane kind of reminds me of Cat Grant from Supergirl, but not really. Cat was more serious and wise. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying there. Carlo says, I love that the Terra Freeze Zord has its own battle mode and first time in a Dino season. It's not one of the main Rangers Zord. Absolutely. I totally agree with you there too, Carlo. Um, Adam says this ain't the last time we see Blair. Really? I'm curious if that means Javi joins the Screaming Zombies, but we'll have to see. Byron says, I'm going to give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. From Javi standing up for himself and the Void Knight and Centaur stuff was very interesting. Jared Turner's performance was so good in this episode. Yeah, Jared continues to impress as Void Knight. Again, I really did like his expression of just fear, being terrified to kind of see what his love has turned into. This is definitely not part of the plan. Mikey says, the one problem I have, Will the Warden, is he doesn't acknowledge Javi have a job. That's right. He treated him like he was a bum playing music all day at the house. That's right. I mean, Homeboy does have a full-time job over at Buzz Blast. He's doing a ton of things, but I get what you're saying there, Mikey, right? He's not necessarily focusing so much on that like his son is like some deadbeat kid that doesn't do anything. S. Chroma says Gold Ranger funny. Yeah, I like the Ion moment that we had in here when he was talking about Blair's his ice, using the Dino key as ice. Yeah, I can see Ion getting some bling and having a little chain hanging from his neck. I love it. Enrique says, "Is the next episode of Dino Fury we will see Centaur turn into Void Queen." We saw her turn into Void Queen at the end of this episode, the end of episode 6. So I'm assuming she'll be Void Queen going forward. Datilla with her wrestling reference. This episode is a Ty Dillinger. It's a perfect 10, 10, 10. Gabriel says, still sad Blaze never showed his family members so far, Dino. We've seen everyone, only Zato and Ion not yet, obviously. Well, I think did we see Zato's mom? Was that Zato's mom in episode 3 that was talking to him? I believe that might have been his mom, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead and let me know in the live chat if I'm wrong there. But thank you very much, guys, for all of your thoughts in regards to this week's episode. Sexy B says, I'm telling you, Adam, you will forget about Javi's dumb moment in season 1, episode 21. You'll see Ian is more of a comedic one than Javi, but has great timing. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody certainly has their blonde moments for sure, right? Izzy clearly had one in here, probably one of her dumber moments, honestly. So yeah, everybody definitely has their blonde moments, but yeah, if anything, yeah, that's that episode with Javi, that line was just so stupid. Marcelino, thank you for verifying that. Yeah, Zato's mom did appear in episode 3. So we've seen pretty much everybody's parents, with the exception of Ion, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. We'll see, guys. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for everybody's thoughts in regards to Dino Fury Season 2, Episode 6. We will be back next weekend with Episode 7 review. So definitely go ahead and join us next Saturday as well, guys. All right. With that out of the way, we will go ahead and continue along with some Power Ranger news, guys. Man, you know what? Before I get to the next topic, I just want to say this. I'm loving Dino Fury season 2 so far. I am a little bit bummed that I haven't binged it like all of you guys, but I do continue to really enjoy tackling it on a week to week basis. It is one of those things where I will sit down and I'll watch an episode, and there's a part of me that wants to continue to sit down and watch the next episode. But I'm telling you, man, just fatherhood is just kind of busy sometimes, unfortunately. Something's kind of taking me away from paying attention to certainly what's going on. I did tell somebody in the Discord this week that when I was watching episode 6, and usually when I do try and watch my Power Ranger episodes, it's usually while I'm feeding my son or I'm hanging out with my son, sort of thing. Maybe we've already finished playing on the ground or reading to him, sort of thing. So our downtime sometimes does come when I'm watching the Dino Fury episodes, and he'll just kind of lay back and watch. He won't. Sometimes he'll react. I don't know if it's all the big colors and the movement on the screen, if you will. But he definitely seems to be paying attention, if you will. There's sometimes in some of the battles, he'll just his eyes will go wide and he'll just he'll look like he's pure excitement, sort of thing, of all the flashes and maybe the bright lights that he's seen. I have no idea, but there it is some level of enjoyment of getting getting an opportunity to see my son watch Power Rangers a little bit, even though I'm pretty sure he has no idea what the hell is going on. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool, honestly. But he's doing great though, guys. By the way, he's continuing to grow. We are working right now on his development. Still trying to work on the whole tummy time, rolling over onto your back, rolling over onto your stomach, sort of thing. I don't know if it's slow progress or not, or if he's where he's supposed to be. The people that have come by on a weekly basis to review him and look out for him because of the fact that he was a preemie, right? So they want to help make sure that he hits all his milestones and stuff. They say he's coming along really, really great. But with this being my first time as a parent, seeing my child develop, you ask yourself questions like, is this what he's supposed to be doing? Are we at the right point where he's supposed to learn this type of stuff, right? So it's this is all uncertainty, unfamiliar territory for me as a parent, if you will. But so it's been a little bit hard in regards to being able to sit down and just binge 11 episodes together, even though they are sort of 30 minutes apart. So whenever I can get in some time to watch Dino Fury, I certainly do my best to try and do so. But when I do kind of like trying to watch it with my son, even though I know he has no idea what's going on. But we'll definitely see. All right, guys. Let me see what you guys are saying. Byron says, I think Void Knight is Amelia's dad. We'll see. We've only seen her pop. So I guess we haven't seen Amelia's parents, but we have seen at least a relative of hers. Sexy B says, without saying anything specific, next week is a very great Ollie episode. Okay. All right. I do like me some Ollie from time to time. Sometimes he can be a little bit jerk. Adam Perez says, I wish I watched Power Rangers as a toddler. I mean, I probably wouldn't even remember it, man. I probably wouldn't even remember it. Nanditha says, I love that for you and your son. Yeah, some quality time between father and son. I absolutely love it. All right, guys, with that out of the way, we will go ahead and transition over to our next topic, which, boy, oh boy, this should be pretty fun to kind of dive into a little bit in regards to reacting to Hasbro's Fan First Tuesday. Luckily for me, I didn't even have to create a new overlay for this. I had this from last week when we previewed Fan First Tuesday. And last week, if you guys were here when we talked about it, what was the one thing that I mentioned to you guys before we left? I said, I'm not getting my expectations high. As much talk and as much anticipation and as many rumors that were certainly out there, one of the things that I said is, fool me once, shame on me, or fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It's probably like fool me 3 times, I'm a complete fucking idiot at this point, that I keep falling for this shit. But I mentioned last time that when it comes to Fan First for Power Rangers, I was going to be keeping my expectations low. I thought if we were going to get any announcements from Fan First Tuesday, it was probably going to be Lightning Collection and maybe Boom Studios comic stuff. while we didn't necessarily get the Boom Studios comic book stuff, we definitely did get Lightning Collection and toy material, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. I will say I think there was maybe an extra level of anticipation for Fan First Tuesday that came after the Illuminati wind up dropping information on David Yost returning for the 30th anniversary. I think even Illuminati was under the impression in their article that Hasbro might reveal further stuff in Fan First Tuesday. They seemed a little bit up in the air too about what else might certainly be announced on Fan First Tuesday. So I don't think any website really expected the clown show that ended up being the Power Ranger Fan First Tuesday panel. What was crazy about it is I went into the live chat on Tuesday for the Transformers. I got there early. I was at 10 a.m. in the morning here, Central Time. Got the opportunity to join on the Transformers live chat. Was in there watching while I was working at the same time. Very professional, really well thought out. Some people that are very knowledgeable about the segments, the toys that they were certainly selling. Great piece of presentation that it literally lasted an entire hour. Like it literally went from 11 to 12. So going into this, I'm kind of under the impression that, if they're putting these two back to back, maybe there's something worth mentioning. I think somebody in the live chat, I can't remember if it was for A Plus More Phenomenal last weekend or for the David Yost video that we did, where somebody said to us, this could be really 50-50. This could just be sort of tacked on to the end of Transformers, or it's back to back because it's a huge presentation. And unfortunately, it was just very much tacked on, almost like an afterthought. I do think that this Power Ranger Fan First could have been its own solo thing. I feel like we probably have had 15, maybe 30 minutes of a Fan First before in the past, and it's sort of been its own thing. I don't like the idea that this was just tackled on to the end of a hour long Transformers presentation, almost like it was an afterthought. Like they felt like it didn't deserve to get time on its own, maybe because of the information that they had to kind of give out to us. Maybe they felt it wasn't newsworthy alone. And who knows, maybe they felt some type of way about past Fan First Fridays and the presentations that they were putting together. One of the things that we've mentioned before is that sometimes the live chats can get a little bit toxic, a lot of pushback for people. And again, I'm not giving Hasbro any excuses whatsoever, but I do wonder if their mindset was, maybe they don't appreciate the ones that we do. So maybe we can just tackle this on to the end of a Transformers. Again, I'm not making excuses for Hasbro's. I'm just trying to figure out what the game plan was or what the mindset was really going into this panel. We had 3 presenters in here. Pam, who according to the video was a newcomer, or it posted her as she's new. We had Jordan, who we've seen Jordan before, especially when it comes to the toys along with the Zord Ascension project. He's been there before, and I think Bill has been there before also, even though Pam mistook him for somebody else, which was rude as F. I I don't know how to feel about this panel, with the exception of it was just a really big disappointment. It was a bit of a clown show. And for somebody that already went into this with low expectations, like I literally went into this just expecting toys and my expectation as low as possible. And the fact that this came in lower was just like a slap across the face for Power Ranger fans, honestly. You know, it for me, it feels like one or two things. Either they put a lot of hard work in trying to be very creative and unique with this presentation, and it just unfortunately bombed, or they really didn't put that much effort into it whatsoever, and it extremely showed. The fact that they did the little pinata commercial the way that it was presented and scripted with the dialogue, it does feel like some work was put in. It just makes me wonder how much effort the people that got the material were really trying to put into it. Again, I don't know. I don't know if it was done out of love and they're trying to do something creative and it was just cringy, or if they literally just did not care and just put this out there and it still came across the same way. Pam, as a newcomer, felt like she certainly didn't want to be there. The editing was really odd and very short, just these brief presentations. It's one of those things where it's like, there's sometimes I wonder if Hasbro with these brief presentations have gotten tired of the fact that a lot of the stuff that they present gets leaked early. So I wonder if they've all of a sudden have this mentality of, these Power Ranger fans know all the stuff that we're presenting, so we don't have to put our best foot forward. And if that is the mentality that they have, you got to change that shit. Like, you've got to change that shit. Like, as a brand, as a company, I don't care what gets leaked. Your anticipation level, your hype level needs to be 100%. And again, I don't know if that's the reason why they just gloss over this stuff, but trust me, even though we are in a Power Ranger fandom that does get leaked information, you should be treating every presentation like you've got newcomers for the first time that have never seen this material before. So give me spec details. Let's get Loretta Masters out here to talk in detail about how she put these pieces together. But the mysterious hand that hands you a figure, Jordan showcasing, hey, it's from Boom Studio Comics, and then that's it, and then all of a sudden moving on to something else. I mean, the lack of respect for the attention to detail and the hard work that these people put in putting this content along with this the products and stuff together. If Transformers could take up a whole hour talking about their content, I don't care if this stuff has been leaked before. You take a whole hour. You put that effort into really hyping this up so people go out and get those pre-order sort of thing. And if that's the mentality that you have, that, oh, they've seen this stuff before, nah, Hasbro. We need all new presenters. We need all new presenters. Get this. I don't know what happened with the other presenters that we had. They weren't bad whatsoever. But again, it's one of those things. I just don't know if Hasbro has gotten tired of the live chat, the people complaining, oh, we know all this stuff already. We've seen this already. There is a part of me that's a little bit annoyed with the live chat from time to time. So I can see why maybe they decided to kind of go this route, but it still doesn't excuse Hasbro for it, because you should be professional and you should be trying to take advantage of this time that you have to really push these products forward, regardless if we've seen them. So that hype machine has got to be better. Like, Jordan can't be the only one giving us energy. Your co-hosts need to be providing that for us also, because this just felt like a slap in the face to Power Ranger fans. Like, Hasbro really has no momentum behind their products. And I'm sure that's not how Hasbro or even its workers want people to view them and the work that they're doing, right? Because I'm sure Loretta Masters, that's busting her ass trying to create this content, probably would have liked to have seen Jason and Trini highlighted a little bit more, right? It is just one of those things that we should be really paying attention and showcasing the work of everything that goes into the effort of putting this kind of stuff together. Fun ideas, yeah. I mean, the presentation was just cringy, man. It was just cringy. It was awkward. Some of the jokes didn't fly. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind cringy. I don't mind cringy humor from time to time, but when that is your entire segment, you got to switch it up, man. It was just really bad presentation. So I don't know where to stand with this outside of underwhelming, a little bit disrespectful, and I hope Hasbro really finds the motivation and really finds the correct co-hosts to put forward a great fan first kind of going forward, because the Twitter handle hyped this up, um, kind of kicked back at the fans a little bit for maybe pushing them for another fan first, being very bold. We know how the fandom can be sometimes. They definitely made us look like clowns this time around for sure. This was certainly a little bit of a clown show. So again, while the presentation was atrocious, let me just clarify that I really like the products though. The products really worked for me. Getting the opportunity to see the Dragon helmet was awesome once again. Seeing the voice modulator, badass as can be. They didn't barely spend any time on that though. The action figures for Jason and Trini looked fantastic. I thought those were brilliant also too. Great products, but the presentation was atrocious, guys. Atrocious. A couple of things that did jump out to me that I absolutely loved. We got the introduction here to some Ninja Rangers finally, as we get the opportunity to finish off that set. I do believe that these are available for pre-order still, perhaps, but definitely go ahead and check them out if you can find them over on Hasbro Pulse still. But we do get to finally finish off the collection of Ninja Rangers, as we got Kat. Looks like we've got Aisha here along with Rocky. So some great stuff when it comes to Ninja Rangers. We also got introduced to the Power Sword, which was a top secret reveal here. The Power Sword from MMPR. I think it said it had a little bit of die-cast metal in it also, so it definitely has some weight to it. Visually, this thing is huge. It looks great. It's got a couple sound buttons on here as well. So yeah, here's the size if you're looking to kind of see it compared to it being held by an actual person. And then I think Bill even showcased the cool effect that if you glide your hand over the saber, it illuminates it in red also. So it does in fact sort of change colors. This was a really great really great product. They did have it available for pre-order, if I'm not mistaken, over on Hasbro Pulse. Originally, though, they did misprice it. I think they priced it for $29.99, so like $30, when the original price itself was $219. I did try and pre-order it at the $30 price, but later on that day, Hasbro reached back out to me and canceled it and was like, we had to cancel your order. I'm sorry. We mispriced it. And when I went back, it was the correct price of $219. So no, I'm not getting the Power Sword. As cool as it looks, though, I really do love the design for this. I don't think the price is bad, but again, I don't know if there's a Bandai version of this. I don't know if there's a Japanese version of like a full-on Power Sword that maybe costs less or maybe made with better materials. I'm not quite sure, but this is the first time that I saw it in regards to Lightning Collection, and I thought it was pretty great. Again, great products. It's just a shame that we had the crew that we had to really not hype these up even more, or even more properly, if you ask me. The other thing that we did get introduced to also was more Zord Ascension project, as we got the opportunity to see the Megazord. It does say that the paint is not final. This is in fact just a prototype here. I believe Jordan mentioned that this is one 1/44th scale, I believe. So if you take like 144 of these, or if you times this by 144, that would be the actual size of the Dragon Zord itself. So I believe that's what the ratio is, 1/44, if I'm not mistaken. And he did also emphasize the idea that this will be compatible with the other Zord Ascension project, Dino Megazord, that I have on pre-order as of right now. I don't believe it's set to drop until August, though. But if you get the Dragon Zord, I believe, is going to be coming less than what the Dino Megazord was. From some of the things that I've seen, I believe the Dragon Zord will be coming in at $120 compared to what the Dino Megazord was, since it is significantly smaller. But you can separate the Dragon Megazord and attach it to the Dino Megazord that we have. He even highlighted, if you can see here, I don't think I have another image of this, but if you can see for the actual combination, he has a red visor there also. Jordan did go ahead and say that this was more based off of the actual concept art of the Super Sentai version of this combination. So I think the original version of the combination had like a blue visor where you can still see the Megazord's eyes behind it. So they Jordan always does a fantastic job in regards to really showcasing the influence of Super Sentai and utilizing the Super Sentai concept to go ahead and create these Zord Ascension projects. So they're about as um connected to Super Sentai as you could possibly get. So the fact that they're even putting in a visor, but this time red, I think it's a great addition. But I'm looking forward to this. I do think that I probably will. It's not available for pre-order as of yet, but just to go along with my Dino Megazord collection, this is something I probably will pick up also. But yeah, man. So again, great products, but boy, this presentation was cringy. Look, I'm not one to challenge anybody's Power Ranger fandom whatsoever. I don't know where Bill or Pam certainly stand. I got to think that they're at least Bill. I don't know where Pam comes from. The fact that she isn't a newcomer to, I don't know if it's Hasbro Pulse or maybe just doing these presentations sort of thing. But I would like people with a little bit more energy, that's really going to go ahead and put their best foot forward, be very knowledgeable not only about the content they're creating, but the connections to the overall lore. That type of stuff really does go a long way when we got people that seemingly know what they're talking about and can make it fun and interactive all at the same time. I've seen better fan first Fridays from them. So for this to be just thrown on, edited super quickly, put on with some really cringy commercial breaks and stuff. I mean, maybe because it was coming from Buzz Blast, Buzzies, like maybe it was supposed to play off of that in that awkward, cringy studio format. It just didn't work for me this time. Great products, but it just didn't work for me this time. So unfortunate, man, unfortunate. And it is one of those things now where, going forward, I don't know how many Power Ranger fans will trust them when it comes to their presentations. I think this is probably one of their bigger viewership numbers in quite some time. But the fact that it feels like they kind of backhanded us a little bit, it's a little bit of a bummer, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle to get viewership kind of going forward. And I get the idea that maybe you are waiting for this reboot and revamping. But there's still a whole nother line of toys that certainly need to be focused on outside of entertainment purposes. And people still want this stuff, man. So treat it like you are talking to people that truly want this stuff. I don't care what leaks, I don't care what people are saying before the presentation. Block out the noise, block out the loud minority of people, and treat this stuff like people are watching it for the very first time. Don't get butt hurt, don't take it personal. Do your job. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. And get us hyped for it. Get us hyped for it. But look, guys, I want to know your thoughts. What did you guys think about this? I'm sure some of you guys are already commenting in regards to it. Mikey says, Fan First Tuesday was a waste of time. You told us. I just tried to lower my expectations. And again, even for the people that listened to me and did lower their expectations, I think even still it came under those low expectations. And I think that's just, man, I can't believe it. Can't believe it. As Karoma was not happy with Fan First Friday, said it sucked. Nicole says, I believe Hasbro Pulse is the real celebration when it comes to Power Rangers for the most part, specifically Dino Fury. Yeah. One of the things that I've mentioned before, it does feel like that Hasbro Pulse cons, the conventions that they have when it comes to at least the entertainment side of Power Rangers, that's kind of where I put a lot of my focus for the news. Unfortunately, we only get like one of those a year. When it comes to fan firsts, I've just been burned by them too much in the past to just have the expectation of just toys. They did talk a little bit about Dino Fury briefly. I think Pam mentioned her favorite episode was the prom thing, but they were just letting us know, hey, Dino Fury's on Netflix now. Go check it out. That's usually the extent of it when it comes to fan first. So I never expect entertainment to be talked at these fan first. So I think that's why my expectations have been so low, because I think Hasbro Pulse cons have done a much better job in doing that. DHR2, not happy, man. Says F Fan First Friday and the people, not a fan of the people that are pushing this content. Jericho says, does this tell you about Hasbro's future with Power Rangers? Like even during the new universe, can you see PR still being in good hands with Hasbro? That's a good question, Jericho. Doomsday said, yeah, I also heard Fan First Tuesday was a total shit show. I will get back to you in here in a second, Jericho. I just want to see what some people else are also saying. And for JHR Tuesdays, for one thing, they need to hire people that are into Power Rangers, not certain ones that don't put effort into products. I definitely agree with you there. He says, and lastly, them mofo are super cringe, and I'm sorry, we deserve better. The fans deserve better. I do agree that the fans deserve better, but let me just play mediator here. I just want to play mediator here. I just want to play mediator here, and you don't have to agree with me or not, but I'm gonna be honest. Because I'm not an executive over at Hasbro, and I don't run a huge corporation. But I do think that there are faults on both parties here to a certain extent, for both parties. Because you're right. As fans, DHR2, I do think that we deserve a little bit better, but I never want to cross that line into entitlement, demanding, asking for things type of thing that I feel like I deserve, I do think as a fan, when it comes to content that Hasbro wants to push forward, I do think that we do deserve a quality presenters, like you mentioned, that know their Power Ranger lore, or at least know the product that they're creating and have an abundance of enthusiasm to certainly talk about it. We definitely do. Has Hasbro given that to us before? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a reason why I was asking for the other hosts back. Can we get the other hosts back, please? Right? So I think Hasbro has put it forward for us in the past. They have given the fans what they deserve. And when they have, how have some of the fans treated them? Pretty shit poor, right? Pretty shit poor. One of the things that we talk about all the time is sometimes I like to mute the live chat because the live chat can be super toxic. Sometimes it could be filled with entitled people that have gotten the leaks already, have spread the leaks around, have talked about it, right? We might have known about these products for 2 weeks or so, sort of thing. And so when we do get a Fan First Friday and we do get a team that's enthused and knows the product and presents it to them, when you look at the live chat, we've seen this before. Talk about something new. Why is it MMPR? Fucking whiny ass babies. Underappreciated for what we're getting, underappreciative of what we're getting, and entitled to want more than what we're getting. So there is a part of me that can understand that from Hasbro's point of view, if we're putting all this effort towards something and it's clearly not being appreciated by a certain section of the fandom that unfortunately is a loud minority, why should we put so much effort behind it in the future? Let's just make these 13, 15-minute snippets, edit this down. People have already seen it. They probably got more knowledge than we're even able to put out for them, sort of thing. So why should we go out of our way to present something for 30 minutes when these people have seen a lot of this stuff already? You know what I mean? And it's nothing against the leakers, but I just think it's the way that people react to the idea of seeing the same thing that they've gotten before, where they've given Hasbro a really difficult time all the time. And so I can see it from Hasbro's point of view of wanting to change things up and do something differently. Now, if they went into the idea of switching it up and doing something differently because they felt butthurt and they felt some type of way about the negative reactions. So this was sort of, I don't want to say they made this with the intention of an FU to the fans. It kind of came across that way. Maybe they literally tried to put their best foot forward and effort and change it up, but the cringeworthy humor and the lack of people that know what they're talking about in here or presentation skills just didn't go off the way that they were hoping for, right? Like I don't really know how to react to it, but I can see Hasbro feeling some type of way. But on the other hand, right? On the other hand, as a fan, it is one of those things where I do expect more from you, not in the sense of entitlement of give me more, but don't you want to make money off of this stuff? You're spending hours and having people blood, sweat, and tears to go ahead and create this content. I just think as a brand, as a company, you should always have that energy. I don't care if people have seen it before, you should always be willing to put your best foot forward to give the best presentation that you can. Because at the end of the day, it's not about listening to the loud minority, it's about pushing your product and trying to sell it as best as you possibly can. And that means putting your best foot forward in regards to the presentation so that fans can appreciate and see that you're putting in the effort, so that we have some faith and we're willing to back your support for Power Rangers with our wallets. So I do see it from both point of views. So I don't want to crap too much on Hasbro, but I do want to crap too much on Hasbro because this is unexcusable. Like, I don't care if people were loud, if people were negative. As a company, you have to be bigger. You have to be better than that. So you've got to always put your best foot forward. So I do think that in this sense, the fans definitely did deserve better. But I will also say, and I don't even know if going forward, if people will even do this, the idea of taking some pressure off of Hasbro, because now I feel like, if anything, more fans have probably lost a little bit more faith in Hasbro. And that's really unfortunate. And there's really no defending Hasbro in that regards. Now, going back to what Jericho said, does this make me fear for Hasbro or Power Rangers being in the hands of Power Rangers, or Power Rangers being in the hands of Hasbro? For me, no. Because there's a part of me that still thinks that their attention and their focus is on the reboot and reimagining. And there's a part of me that thinks that that's where all their attention and focus is going to be. And who knows, maybe seeing how they're handling things with Lightning Collection and the toy side of things, maybe that's something I should be looking to see how they're going to handle the entertainment side. But I feel like they're just two separate things, two separate entities, the toy side and the entertainment side. And there's a part of me that thinks that the entertainment side is in much better hands than that of the toy side of things. So for me, while this definitely was a hiccup and a big unfortunate misstep, I still am rolling with Hasbro in regards to wanting to see and having the trust and faith of what they can do with Power Rangers going forward into the future. Because I do think that that's where most of their attention is. And especially with us having new shakeup in management, a new CEO. I think, if anything, a new CEO maybe gives me more worry and trepidation about Power Rangers, since it's not Brian Goldner anymore. But for right now, I'm still going to have faith in them. I'm still going to have faith in them for right now, at least. Edward Sanchez says, I just hope that some of the fans don't send the new girl and presenters death threats. Yeah, people are crazy enough to do that shit. I hope not either, Edward. I really hope not. Like, it shouldn't get to that point. It shouldn't. Sexy B says, I follow Loretta Masters on social media and she seems very passionate about Power Rangers. A lot of her posts are Rangers from different seasons. Not sure how Hasbro's mind works. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely reached out to Loretta maybe a less than a handful of times, just complimenting her on her incredible work. And she's definitely gotten back to me a couple of times, but it is things like that. Like she's been on the show before. I just feel like we've seen much more passionate people present Power Rangers to us in the past. And I don't know why the change up or bringing somebody else in felt needed, unfortunately. Ibase, what's up, Ibase? He says, I got let down when I saw a thumbnail on YouTube of Lord Draken, aka Tommy. Stop with MMPR and Tommy stuff, bringing some other stuff from other seasons. Yeah, they still love their MMPR, unfortunately. Midwest, what's up, Midwest? Good to certainly see you coming through. Nicole says, do you think fans will exit the franchise after Dino Fury and not look forward to the reboot after seeing and knowing how Hasbro treats the franchise outside of the TV show? I don't. Again, I see entertainment and toys as two separate things. Like I don't. I would like to know what their mindset is in regards to toys since I'm not a toy collector like that. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are really sort of disappointed in that regards, but I feel like they've been disappointed for a while now. But I just think Entertainment One and Hasbro just have a completely different mentality towards the TV and entertainment side of things. That I do think it would be. I know fans have been burnt by this Fan First Tuesday, but I don't necessarily think they should put that on the entertainment side of Hasbro. I think that should be taken up with the Lightning Collection sort of group of people. JB says, what says they did lack any kind of spark. You could light a match up they ass and it'll fizzle, it'll fizzle out. There definitely was no spark there, man. There definitely was no spark. Nanditha says, I kind of feel like Hasbro was trying to just add last minute audience through us fans. Maybe they wanted to get their viewership up. Who knows? Michael Rhymes says, I feel like a PR Twitter fandom got out of control. Might just be me. Now, a lot of people got upset about this for sure. Mikey says, had no expectations, still felt disappointed. The toxic fandom represents a small part of the fan base. Pam is new. I give her a pass. Why Hasbro put her in this situation? Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't try and come down too hard on Pam because of the fact that she is new. So again, that's why I said I don't know what Hasbro's mentality was behind this. Was this a FU to the fans for some of the toxicity they've seen in the past? So they've decided to give us a smaller presentation. Is this the sense of, hey, we really want to try and do something new to maybe, bring the viewers back in and get the anticipation level up? And it was just executed poorly. So yeah, good luck to Pam and anything else that she winds up doing. But unless she's going to bring more energy and more understanding of the fandom and the franchise, I hope she does better on other products. But hopefully we can get some people in here that know what they're doing. But yeah, I will give her a pass in that regards. But Hasbro in general, not so much. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I really do hope that if anything, um, Hasbro changes course. But does this make me worried about Power Rangers under Hasbro going forward? TV wise side, no. Toy wise, maybe. I do wonder if they're just changing course and getting ready for something else. We'll see though. All right, guys. With that out of the way, though, we will dive into another Power Ranger topic for you guys today as we round up our Power Ranger content with this topic. And this is kind of revisiting, if you will, the 30th anniversary news that we wind up getting. This past week, the Illuminati let us know that when it comes to the Power Rangers 30th anniversary, good old David Yost is certainly returning, and we definitely talked a little bit about this. The article not only gives us details about David Yost's return, but it also gives us some insight in regards to the format of what the 30th anniversary season could look like. If you guys did miss our video, there is a video up on our YouTube page where we certainly went ahead and talked about it a little bit. But we'll talk about it a little bit more here, as we also have to kind of juggle the idea of Quantum Continuum all at the same time, which I don't believe Quantum Continuum is the 30th anniversary. This feels very much like it's significantly different. So for those of you who might have missed it, or maybe want to revisit this topic, let's do just that. Let's go ahead and bring up this article here. This is from the Illuminati, for an exclusive report from them, letting us know that Power Rangers 30th season, David Yost is set to return in an exclusive report, guys. I'm trying to bring up the comments here real quick. Also, give me a minute. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this. So the first bit of news, it says one of the details is that David Yost, who portrayed Billy Cranston, the original Blue Ranger, will be returning to Power Rangers after leaving the show in 1996. According to a source close to the project, Yost will be appearing in at least one episode of the 30th season. So Billy will be returning. I'm assuming he'll have a significant role in his guest role here, as he has plans on coming back at least for one episode. So not expecting him the entire season, but I gotta think, and we've mentioned this before, and I feel like David Yost has mentioned this before on his live, his IG page. You know, I'm sure people have always asked him, hey, you know, David, would you ever want to return to Power Rangers? And while I think he's always been open to the idea, you know, David has always been very truthful in saying that if I come back, it's got to be important. You know, it's got to be worthwhile. I'm not trying to come here for a brief cameo or for some stupid ass storyline sort of thing. You know what I mean? So there are elements of the idea of David Yost coming back that gives me a little bit of confidence that whatever Hasbro is creating here is good enough for David Yost. And if it's good enough for David Yost to return, I got to think we've got ourselves a pretty decent script on our hands in regards to the overall picture of what this could potentially set up. Now, again, we don't know the details of the 30th anniversary, but there is a part of me that now really would like this 30th anniversary to be a lead in for two things. I really would like this to be not only a wrap up of this franchise after 30 years, but maybe also a little bit of a lead in regards to whatever Jonathan Entwistle is creating. And I also hope that this is a lead in to maybe even what David Yost is currently trying to create in his Quantum Continuum. Now, for those of you who don't know, again, David Yost is trying to have talks with Hasbro in regards to doing a revival series for the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger team, getting the opportunity to revisit these characters after so many years since we've last seen them, and certainly see what their life has been like, along with what they're doing when it comes to being Power Rangers. So over the past couple of weeks, you know, David Yost has been dropping a bunch of script pages for us to certainly see. Also, heck, I'll even throw up one of the script pages that we have here. This was one of the more recent ones, I believe, that he had actually between Bulk and Skull as well. Getting the opportunity to showcase some. Let me see if I can actually pull this up into a bigger image, because I can't even read what the hell I can't even read what the hell this script is saying right here. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys even bigger on my side to read it out. Where's my oh, there it is. Let me see here. So yeah, this is the Bulk and Skull moment. Interior diner, later afternoon. Bulk and Skull are sitting at a booth drinking coffee. Bulk's sheriff vehicle is parked in front of the diner and seen through the windows. A waitress, Hazel, refills Bulk's coffee cup. So Bulk is sheriff in town. We got Skull there. Skull stares out the window in a bit of a daze. Such a rough day, Skull says. I feel guilty trying to fill her shoes. Bulk says, Skull, we've been through this. She's was very confident in you and would want you to step in. The city needs your leadership. Bulk's cell phone rings. He mentions the Skull with his fingers. 1 second. Bulk continues, yeah, go. What? Really? And you've tried multiple times? I was just there 45 minutes ago. I don't I'll meet you there. You're not going to believe this. There's been a distress alarm going off at the Commissioner Scott's house. They've been calling and calling, but they can't get a response. 2 units are headed over there now. Skull says, we better get over there. They grab their belongings. Skull throws money down on the table and they head out of the door to Bulk Sheriff vehicle. So yeah, it looks like did they lose somebody? Maybe the past person wind up giving this position to Skull. Looks like Skull's in a new position also. I'm assuming maybe both of them are police officers at this point in time. Who certainly knows? But he's been dropping hints like this and pieces of his script for weeks now, getting us an idea as to what we could possibly expect. And so, one of the things that I'm kind of hoping for is the idea of David Yost returning. There's a part of me that hopes that David Yost got himself a pretty good deal. The idea of just getting somebody like David Yost back just based off of his history with the Power Ranger franchise, it probably does help that there is new management in town, if you will. Clearly, new ways of doing things behind the scenes. I'm hoping that the script was good enough for David Yost to say yes, and that maybe Hasbro was like, hey, we'll even throw in a little maybe limited series for you. You know that script that you're working on, David? Maybe we'll take that. Maybe we'll find some screenwriters to go ahead and even build upon whatever it is that you're creating and really put in a limited series. So I'm hoping that based off of David Yost's return, that the script is strong and that hopefully, Quantum Continuum has been greenlit or at least been picked up, but we haven't gotten any information yet in regards to if that is true or happening. The only thing that we do know right now, David Yost, according to the Illuminati and their sources, will be appearing in at least one episode of the 30th season. I think this is monumental for the franchise. It says we expect the new season to be the grand finale to the incarnation of the show that's been running since 1993. After this, Hasbro will likely shift focus to the upcoming Power Rangers reboot project with Jonathan Entwistle. Season 30 will also feature multiple other returning Rangers throughout the season, and not just for one episode. So some will be for one episode, some will be for majority of the season. However, we currently do not have any information on these actors at this time. For me, one of the things that I mentioned in the previous video when it comes to returning Power Rangers, I would like it to be a really great assortment. Kind of what like Go Kaiser did in regards to one person per episode. I mean, they don't have to go that route for sure. I think we're definitely going to get a team of Rangers that are put together, but they may be Rangers from the past, right? That's one of the rumors that's been out from Jinsaku over the past couple of weeks, that while we might have a new Ranger in Yen, the other places of the team will be filled by past Rangers, with maybe the exception of a cameo here and there throughout the season. So for me, I would really like to see Neo Saban Rangers along with Disney era Rangers maybe make up the current team that we have in here. And if we are going to do any cameos for just one episode, maybe we can go further back into the original Saban era Power Rangers for them to kind of do some cameos, but kind of give really the heavy lifting, if you will, to the more current generation of Power Rangers. Is kind of how I would certainly like to see this put together. But again, no true information yet as to who the other Rangers are going to be. It does say that since 2011, Power Rangers productions have, for the most part, been filmed in 44 episode increments. However, this upcoming season will have fewer episodes with longer episodes. We do not know how many episodes the 30th season will have exactly, but we know that the episode will clock in at around 40 minutes each. Now, listen, we already have toxic ass fan people out there that are pushing back against this. This is false. This is rumors. Power Rangers have been doing 44 episode seasons for its entire life. It's not going to change now, sort of thing. Look, you believe what you want to believe. Power Rangers is changing. So swallow that pill, if you will. That's so hard for you to accept, but it's happening. 44 episode increments, no more. We are switching to the time of streaming services. We are on Netflix now. We can really be creative and change up the formula of how we've done Power Rangers for such the longest time. The script stuff that we've seen when it comes to the auditions have already emphasized only 4 to 5 weeks of filming. You cannot do an entire 44 episode season in 4 to 4 weeks. So we are still very much leaning. I was thinking at the time limited series or mini series, but in reality, this is just a normal season when you think of how Netflix or any other streaming services roll. I guess for me, choosing the term limited series and mini series came because this was always just vastly different than anything that we've done when it comes to Power Rangers before. But this is very much the norm when it comes to Netflix and other series also. So 6 to 8, 8 to 10 episodes. I think we're somewhere in there. If I had to guess, I would say anywhere 6 to 8 would be my number. But again, we're talking 44-minute episodes a piece. I love that. That feels very much more modern day drama-esque in regards to telling the story that you want to tell, having more time to flesh out the characters and the storyline as well. So I'm really hoping that this new format change really allows them to be very creative with whatever this 30th anniversary is certainly set up to be. Somebody did mention something also about the 44 episodes. Nanditha did say, do you think there's a chance the Illuminati article could be talking literally about Quantum Continuum, because the 44 episode and shorter number of episodes makes it sound like Quantum Continuum. The rest of the cast is probably under NDA. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I don't think that's what David Yost was coming in to create. I do think that it's a separate entity that he's creating. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong, and they come out and they announce it that way, but I'm not. I'm under the impression that it's two separate things. And I'll only say that because I would think that if you are David Yost and you are creating, say, a revival series of some sort that focuses on the main cast, I would think that you would want to be in it more than just one episode. You know what I mean? If they're referring to the fact that he's only going to have a guest starring role for at least one episode, that doesn't feel like a David Yost led series, you know? Not to say that Billy would be the main character, but when it is a revival series, I would think that Billy would have more screen time than anything. So I'm under the impression that this is separate from Quantum Continuum. That's why I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that the idea of David Yost even coming back for this means that maybe there was some bargaining on the table in negotiating. Like, I love this script, but listen, I've got a script of my own I really would like to have looked over, greenlit, and maybe come to fruition. You know, if you want me to come back, maybe you take me and my script as a combo deal. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how negotiations went or if they're still talking or not. But we'll see. And the moment that we do get further insight in regards to if Quantum Continuum will be a reality, we'll let you know. But it does feel like 30th anniversary and Quantum, two completely different things here. Let's see here what else you guys are saying. It does say that the new season will also return to Netflix after becoming an original series for the service with the 29th season. The season will likely premiere on the service in early 2023, similar to past seasons. Let me see here. Sexy Beast says, if I was CEO of Hasbro when it came to PR, I'd go all out. I would at least be pretty open about other ideas that came across my table. So I am hoping that somebody like a Michael Lombardo, when people are pitching him ideas for Power Ranger content, I'm hoping he's thinking outside the box. I really do. Detella says, I'm excited for David's return. Me too. I'm really pumped. I mean, it's been forever since he's been back. 1996. It's a long time coming. Nanditha said he'd want it to not be like the Tom Burley cameo in the 2017 movie. Yeah, I do think he probably has an important role to certainly play in here. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? He says, hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. With David Yost potentially returning, do you think he will have a very good, significant role this time? I heard Jason wasn't that properly used. If you're telling me David Yost, a guest star in an episode that's 44 minutes long, yeah, I think he'll have a significant role to play in here. Otherwise, I don't think David Yost would even bother to come back, honestly. Nanditha says a lot of people are saying Skull is going to become the mayor and Trini Kim was the previous mayor and Jason is the commissioner. Oh, interesting. I kind of dig that, Nanditha. We'll see if that happens, though. Blossom says David Yost returning. Sweet. He's totally, absolutely hot. Still feeding for some David Yost. I love it, Blossom. Johnny thinks the 30th anniversary might go from 10 to 12 episodes at best. We'll definitely see. Adam says, short amount of episodes, but longer sounds really nice. I hope this happens. I hope it happens too. I really do. He says, I am sad we may not get Quantum Continuum again. I'm hoping that we get both. There's a part of me that really thinks that we could get both. I do think we live in a world where it's possible, but it really just depends on what Hasbro wants to do. Hasbro's love their MMPR. It would feel foolish for them not to take advantage of this, but with them trying to reboot and reimagine, I do wonder if they have their doubts as to where can we fit this in. I still think you can pull it off, especially right after the 30th anniversary. If you need something to maybe still carry you over, or who knows? Again, I still think you could tap into the multiversal aspect, still show us an older MMPR team, but still reboot and reimagine things the way that you want to. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate. Marcelino says, I wonder if Power Rangers is officially unionized since David Yost said that he couldn't return because he is part of the union and the Power Rangers was non-union. I also have heard David Yost say, and he has mentioned before, that if they were still non-union, that there are some workarounds that he would be willing to do. I have heard him specifically say that on an IG live account. So I don't know if it's so much the unionization that bothers him so much as it is now that Hasbro is on board and it's new people in charge. So I do think that there's a workaround for him there when it comes to the unionization, but we'll see. We'll see. Mikey says, did JDF and ASJ make peace? I'm under the assumption they did. If you ask them both, there's no beef. But where's the beef? But they did show up at the 2017 movie premiere together, even though I don't think we had a picture of them side by side or just themselves. I think they were just all in big groups. So I'm assuming whatever beef they had has been squashed, but they never want to be honest about it, I don't think. Ram Jam, he says, I hope they do Billy character justice in David Yost returning. I think they will. I don't think David Yost returns without Billy having been done some justice. I think the script has to be good for David Yost to come back. I do think he will protect himself and his character's legacy in that sense. Datilla says, Adam, who would you like to see come back? In regards to, if we got to go the route of bringing back past Rangers to fill up the team, I would like to see Brennan in there. I think Brennan from Dino Charge would be great. I wouldn't even mind a William Schufelt in there from Ninja Steel. I know cringe for most of us. I would even be open for somebody like back from RPM. Give me somebody from RPM. I was thinking maybe even Rose McIver, if they can. I know she's a big star, but for a one-off 30th anniversary special, it'd be great. Either her or Scott, I think, would be great from RPM. Maybe if you can get Jen or even Jason from Time Force to kind of come back, maybe. So I'm trying. We'll see. We'll see. Those are just some, just briefly off the top of my head. I definitely Brennan, definitely somebody from RPM. Whether or not we're able to get a Jen or West back, or even, I still might even throw William Schufelt in there, or even like Lauren from Samurai, one of those. But those are some of the people that I would probably want to put back, as far as like forming an actual team of just random Rangers. Um, and if we were to have cameos, then maybe some Zordon era or very early Disney era stuff. Francois says, "Do you want to see Troy come back?" No, please no. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But listen, you know what? Look, I'll give Adam. I'll give Andrew another shot. I'll give Andrew another shot. If anything, I'll give Andrew another shot if we have a new showrunner. I don't know if Simon Bennett's saying farewell or if he plans on coming back for this, or they're getting somebody else. But give me a completely brand new director, and then maybe I'll give Troy a shot. But as of right now, nah, I'm good. Mikey says he would love to see Rocky and Brad Hawkins from VR Troopers. Kind of dig that also. Dotella would love to see Zach certainly come back. Moon Knight Hero says, "Man, just bring Billy back." It seems as though we're getting him. We're definitely getting him back. Sexy Beast says, "Bring back Lauren." I would love to see Lauren. Lauren would probably be one of my more recent. If we are talking about recent and impact, it would probably be Lauren, Brody, and Brennan's character from Dino Charge would be the only three that I think from the Neo Saban era I would be open to having come back for sure. All right, guys. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Again, David Yost returning, and then of course the 44-minute episodes, less episodes but longer. The rest outside of that is just kind of all speculation and rumors at this point. We'll see exactly what else winds up coming to fruition. But I think this is big news, man. Monumental. I think Power Ranger fans should be super excited for this. Super stoked. The fact that of all people, David Yost is coming back. I think if anything gives me confidence that what Hasbro was creating is good enough. If it's good enough to get David back, I think for me as a fan, it's good enough for me to consume and certainly enjoy. Dentilla says, "Who wants to see a grown-up Justin return?" We'll see. I want to see how many people's hands raise for that. Adam Perez says, "I hope they give David a new full morph sequence this time. It's not that hard. Maybe him and the whole team would be pretty great to see everybody with a new morphing sequence." Mike Knight here says, "I would like to see Taylor from Wild Force or Mac from Overdrive and Vita from Mystic Force." Yeah, maybe even Vita. Vita would be a great. I would definitely be open for that. And thank you very much, Nanditha. I really appreciate the compliment there. But yeah, guys, we'll definitely go ahead and keep you posted. And listen, if you guys do want to see Quantum Continuum, there is a petition that's currently out there right now. And listen, I'm not really one for signing petitions. I don't necessarily know if people listen or actually care about petitions so much, but I really appreciate David Yost, all his hard work that he's done throughout his years, the fact that he still wants to be a part of the fandom, that he's got something really great up his sleeve in regards to reuniting the team for a revival series. All of this stuff I'm super supportive of. So even somebody like me that doesn't sign petitions certainly wants to be a part of it. So I have signed this petition to make Quantum Continuum happen. I think they're asking for like 7,000 signatures. It's got just over 6,500 signatures, so it's almost there. I don't know if this will amount to anything or if this will sway the opinions of Hasbro, but if it's something that I support, I'm definitely going to go ahead and showcase my support in some way or another. So if you guys would like to sign the Quantum Continuum petition, if you would like to certainly see this happen, not to say that signing this will allow it to, but if you want to show your support, there is a link in the description box below. So show David Yost and the rest of the fandom how much you want to see this, and maybe, just maybe, Hasbro will certainly listen. But we'll see, guys, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted with new information as it drops. All right, guys. Let me see here. There was something else. What's up, Common Rider? Thank you very much for certainly coming through today. Mikey says justice for Lauren. Yeah, bring back Lauren, man. Bring back Lauren. Nanditha said, I didn't really think the petition would be worth it either until David himself supported the petition. So yeah, I saw David Yost retweeting it. And I was like, oh, he's on board with this too. He likes the idea of a petition. Okay, maybe it will go a long way if David Yost wants the signatures. So definitely. So yeah, there is a link in the description box below. So we've got a link to the petition, there's a link to the Discord, and there's a link to A Plus Hero Report in the description box below. All right. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, well, I will bring this up. Marcelino says, would you not mind the character of Troy to come back if they just recast Andrew Gray with a different actor? No. If you're going to bring back Troy back, if you're going to bring Troy back, bring Andrew back. Unless Homeboy's like in trouble with the law or something, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in his real life. But if Andrew's available, again, he's not my choice. He's not my choice. But if they were to bring him back, I'm just saying I might be a little bit more open to it, but we'll see. Second opportunity. All right, guys. And with that wrapped up, we will transition from our Power Ranger news to our Tokusatsu news, as Ultraman is really in the news this week, man. I was actually quite surprised as to how overwhelmed I was with Ultraman, but all for good reason, because one of the movies that I've been highly anticipating for quite some time is drawing closer, and that is in fact Shin Ultraman. We've been talking about this for months, since last year. This Shin Ultraman movie was set to actually drop last summer, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic and the theaters being closed, this was in fact pushed much further down the line, and it will be dropping this summer in theaters. So I am really looking forward to this. Think of this as a reimagining and I don't want to say a rebooting, but a reimagining of the origin story of Ultraman, sort of set more in present day and how this situation would really be handled. They've already tackled this with the Godzilla character. They did go ahead and produce a Shin Godzilla movie, which blew me away in regards to a more current iteration of the origin story of Godzilla. Blew me away. So the fact that they want to go ahead and create a Shin universe, I'm certainly more than welcome. And so this week, guys, we finally got another teaser trailer to get brand new footage in regards to this upcoming movie, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this. I'm going to try and not share the audio, but if it is sharing the audio, I apologize. Don't at me, Subaraya. I'm just trying to highlight and promote your product here, okay? But this comes to us from TokuNation.com. Says there's a new Shin Ultraman teaser trailer released. One more teaser trailer has been released online for the upcoming Shin. You know what? Maybe I should probably mute this on my side too. For the upcoming Shin Ultraman project by Hideaki Anno. It says, in this film, the new series of giant monsters have appeared for unknown reasons across Japan. What the hell? It says the government seeks to find a way to stop these creatures when a mysterious silver giant appears from beyond the atmosphere. Shin Ultraman will be released in theaters March 13th, 2022. So yeah, it's like a 30-second trailer that we wind up getting in here. There's a shot coming up here of Ultraman coming through I love this. As he transforms, I love that shot. I love that shot. You can see his change mechanism there as he comes bursting through. I was really impressed also by the character design. Well, this looks old school. Like just seeing him get to shoot up into sky. I love this shot of him as he goes up into the sky. Even get an opportunity to see the graphics for the monsters are pretty damn impressive in here too. Oh, I love this shot of Ultraman just standing in the rubble and the wreckage. I do wonder if them with them creating the Shin universe, I do wonder if we're gonna have ourselves a massive crossover at any point in time. Like the idea of Ultraman facing off against Godzilla would be pretty epic if you ask me. But I'm loving what I'm seeing here visually. I'm assuming this is the giant, the silver giant that they're referring to. I can't remember the character's name actually from the series itself, but this is supposed to be starting off as a brand new origin story for Ultraman. Kind of maybe a retelling of the first couple of episodes in one, but that's such a great shot. I am still a little bit like I can't lie. There is a part of me that is still a little bit hesitant in regards to the character design for Ultraman in regards to him being so slim. Homeboy doesn't even have an ass, honestly. I mean, it just feels like that it feels very human alien formish to me. Like it's not a full body like the I don't know, it just looks odd to me the way that the way that he's kind of standing and the design of his body. It feels a little bit too alien-esque to me. But that's the form that they certainly want to go with. And so I'm not going to complain. I'll definitely check it out and see how it looks. But visually, at least, I feel like it looks significantly better in this trailer than what we certainly wind up getting in the past. But the fact that it's coming together, I'm a big fan. So teaser trailers here. Again, this is supposed to be dropping in May. I'm hoping that as we get closer to May, though, we do get ourselves a more full-fledged trailer, maybe like an actual minute, minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes as we certainly get closer to the movie itself. But May 16th, guys, or excuse me, May 13th, this movie drops. What's your level of excitement or anticipation for this? Now that you've got an opportunity to see more new footage from the trailer, has it raised your hype level at all? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. I also want to go ahead and jump into another aspect of Ultraman, and that will be Ultraman Season 2 on Netflix. It's officially here, guys. We've been hyping this up for quite some time. Season 1 blew me away when I found it a couple years back, maybe 2, 3 years. It's been a while since the first season of Ultraman wind up dropping on Netflix. Very CGI heavy when it comes to its animation. I believe this series is based off of taking place years in the future after the original Ultraman series. So continuity wise, this does take place in the original series universe, but years into the future. They do have some information here about it from Tokusatsu Network. They did go ahead and talk about it now being available on Netflix. So if you guys are interested in checking this out, please do. Certainly binge worthy for sure. But yeah, Tokusatsu Network saying Ultraman Season 2 now streaming on Netflix. The second season of Ultraman has officially begun streaming. All 6 episodes of the season currently available to watch globally on the streaming service. So just 6 episodes. In addition, details on the season's opening and ending themes have also been released. The theme song for this year's Ultraman is 3, performed by Noleon. Super Ride Productions has also released a creditless version of the opening, which is available on the official Ultraman YouTube channel. Introduced this season as a new character, Kotaro Higashi, a photographer who gets mixed up in a case of mass disappearances. Kotaro reaches out to the SSSP, and a sudden accident occurs, which changes him into a superhuman covered in flame. Season 2 will feature the inheritors of the Ultra Brothers' name and abilities, along with Shinjiro Hayata, the son of the original Ultraman, Shin Hayata. So seasons 1 and 2 are currently available on Netflix. So it's up there, guys. Just 6 episodes. Should be easy to be able to sit down and binge watch if you guys are certainly interested. But again, I for me, my first introduction to Ultraman probably was Ultraman Season 1 on Netflix. As far as live action goes, for me, it was just this past season when it comes to Ultraman Trigger. And I got to say, I had great experiences with both of them. So if you are looking for an entry level way to get into Ultraman, I would certainly recommend either of those, either Ultraman Trigger for your live action, or if you want to take a different route and go the animation route, certainly check out the Ultraman series over on Netflix. Seasons 1 and 2 are now available. And since we've been keeping you guys up to date in regards to that, I thought it would be interesting to at least give you that tidbit of information so you guys know it's out there if you've been excited to certainly check it out. Let me jump into the live chat real quick. Yeah, AJ just brought this up. There is a new Ultraman series on Netflix. Yeah, season 2 has officially dropped. Nevedita, I probably completely butchered it. I'm sorry. Says, love that you covered on Quantum Continuum and David Yost return. I hope we get both, just like you said. Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Keep my fingers crossed that we get both. Mike Knight Hero says, I love that they continue with the dark tone with these movies. Shin Godzilla was dark, and I think that the new Ultraman will be too. Just make it feel so serious. I hope in future Shin Super Sentai. Well, I don't know if we're going to get Shin Super Sentai. I hope we do. I feel like Toei has let that ship sail in the sense of, for them, Super Sentai has turned into Power Rangers now and is kind of viewed that way globally. As whereas Shin Ultraman, Godzilla, Kamen Rider, those are all very much Japanese. Although, we have done Godzilla, American Godzilla here for sure. But that's a completely different company too. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works if they ever do a Shin Super Sentai. I mean, we've got Godzilla, we've got Ultraman, we've got a Shin Kamen Rider coming next year. It feels like maybe that's where their focus is, but I wouldn't mind a Shin Super Sentai team. I wouldn't mind, especially if it's just released in Japan or overseas like that. JB says, what says is Quantum Continuum still MMPR? Yeah, I'm assuming it's more or less a MMPR revival series. So the idea of revisiting these characters in their older ages and see what they're kind of up to now. Sexy B says, have you gotten any follow-up to a special guests from Power Rangers? Maybe King Simon himself? Probably not. No, probably not any guest appearances as of right now before we close shop around here. And no, Enrique, I have not seen the new Zenkaiger versus Karamager versus Senpaiger trailer. The last one we talked about was a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even know that they dropped one, unless they just dropped something like that today. Because as of yesterday, I did not see it on Toku Nation. Although I will say this was not brought up on the show this week. But maybe I'll throw this up here, last minute edition for you guys. Kamen Rider O's 10th anniversary special has been announced. It says Toei is not done counting the medals just yet. That's a sweet ass poster, man. I love that poster. It says a special episode of Kamen Rider O's has been announced, titled Kamen Rider Birth X Birth Secret Episode. As the title suggests, this episode will focus on Kamen Rider Birth and the creation of his unique new form, Birth X. It says actor Asaya Kimijima will also return once again as Kamen Rider Birth, and actress Riho Takada reprises her role as Hina, but this time Hina returns to take up the O's driver. Kamen Rider Birth X Birth Secret episode will be released on the Tokusatsu fan club, which does amazing work this upcoming summer. So yeah, Kamen Rider O's fans, be happy. It looks like you're getting yourself a special episode dropping this summer. So look forward to that. And then our last topic that we're going to be breaking down for you guys is more Kamen Rider news. This one also comes to us from Toku Nation. At Kamen Rider GenM's Smart Brains and the 1000% Crisis trailers has been released. I'll go ahead and play this too. This is 30 seconds. It says a trailer has been released for the upcoming Toei Tokusatsu Fan Club Kamen Rider special episode featuring fan favorite Kamen Rider GenM. After a bout with the game sickness, CEO Guy Amatsu creates a new human gear based on the president of GenM Corporation until the human gear becomes infected with a certain strain of bugster virus and a new adventure begins. It says the two new rider forms have been created for this special. You got Kamen Rider Thouser will use his new driver to become Kamen Rider Thousand Art. Should transcend his powers once again. Kamen Rider GenM activates the new form, GenM Masu Gamer. It says Smart Brain and the 1000 Crisis is scheduled to premiere April 17th. So actually, as of maybe that's today in Japan on the Tokusatsu Fan Club channel. So yeah, this is actually dropping this weekend for you guys. So if you are big Kamen Rider fans, that's something for you guys as well. So Kamen Rider GenM's on the Tokusatsu Fan Club this weekend, and then you've got Kamen Rider O's special episode this upcoming summer for you guys. Also, man, you guys are getting everything. They even went ahead and dropped brand new photos for you guys too in regards to that. So this is the poster that they presented for this this movie, and then of course some actual images of the I'm assuming these are the new Kamen Rider designs that we've seen so far. But yeah, you get the opportunity to see some brand new images. I'm not too familiar with this Kamen Rider series, but if you guys are, this might be right up your alley. Is this like a spinoff of a spinoff from Kamen Rider Zero or something like that? I'm kind of curious to know a little bit more about it. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts about this in the live chat or the comment section box below, as we've got ourselves a new Kamen Rider movie headed our way. Great things, man. I really love this the Toei Tokusatsu fan club. I think they're doing some amazing work, honestly. From the stuff that I've seen from the Yodana stuff, the Real Soldier content they've created, even the was it the Legacy of the Master Soul? Great stuff, man. I'm having a really great time with their Toei Tokusatsu fan club. But yeah, guys, let me go ahead and know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. You know what? There's one last thing I want to go ahead and bring up, because you guys know, past couple of months, we've felt some type of way about everything that's transpiring behind the scenes when it comes to Toei, along with Kamen Rider. A couple of months back, there were some allegations that were kind of thrown out of some women over at the Kamen Rider set and working at Toei that were feeling harassed, and went ahead and did something about it. And we haven't heard anything in regards to it in quite some time. And this article just dropped, but it seems as though we do have some updates in regards to what's happening, as far as like, is Toei listening? Are they going to be taking any actions on these allegations? And so this week, this actually dropped yesterday on the 15th, Toei to take corrective action regarding work practices. I always try and bring this type of stuff to people's awareness so people can understand, for me, why it is that I don't follow Kamen Rider Revice this season. We did do Kamen Rider, what was it? The Kamen Rider season as of last year here, but with Revice, we've decided not to. We've refused to go ahead and promote it. And this year, while it's been difficult for me, who has wanted to watch Revice, it's been difficult to not watch it. But I've definitely done my part in not really talking about it or promoting it, because it's stories like this that continue to creep up that give me reason as to why it continues to solidify why I shouldn't support it the way that we have been. But it just also goes to just a bigger picture in regards to just people being taken care of in their workplace and feeling safe to work amongst their fellow coworkers. I feel like we've seen this type of stuff in Hollywood. We definitely have been trying to do our best to address it over the past couple of years. And it feels like this is a situation that Toei is now experiencing themselves and maybe has been for quite some time, and they've been reluctant to address it. But maybe it's kind of catching up to them in regards to their workplace environments. But this is from Tokusatsu Network saying Toei to take corrective action regarding work practices. So it says the anonymous employer who filed a lawsuit against Toei has held a press conference this week to discuss the company's practices. It says the Labor Standards Inspection Office has recommended correction action to Toei Company for working its employees beyond the legal limit and not paying a proper wage for their overtime. It says the anonymous female employee in her 20s, currently on leave, reported her circumstances to the support union in fall of last year. This past week, though, she actually held a press conference in Tokyo on April 14th to go over the situation. She said, Kamen Rider is a hero of justice. I don't think it's righteous to work in such a place, dying for the love of the work, and to have rampant work practices that do not comply with Labor Standards Act. I wonder whether it was right to indict them for destroying the dream of a television show aimed towards children. But I hope that people who have been hurt in the same industry will feel more comfortable speaking out. Toei acknowledged the decision for corrective action already has plans to implement them. They responded with regard to the overtime hours, at least, and other issues that were brought up by the anonymous employee. We have received a decision from the Labor Standard Inspection Office to which said the employee filed the complaint, and we are taking steps on based on that decision. With regard to the corrective action recommendation regarding the employee, report on remediation has already been submitted. So they're not telling us exactly in this article what it is that they're doing, just that the idea of this stuff has been brought to their attention and they're working on addressing it. So hopefully we'll get some information as to how exactly they addressed it. Yeah, again, we've seen allegations of Kamen Rider voice actor being one to wear blackface at one point in time in his career and not apologize or comment on it whatsoever. There were allegations of sexual harassment or some sort of harassment from one of the employees on Kamen Rider Revice set. And there is this also other complaint of just being overworked in regards to how long that they certainly have you on set working these extremely long hours. It's just the same situation that we experienced here, where we had the writers and the crews and the labor workers, the essential workers for studios, almost had a walkout, almost had in regards to not being taken care of properly, long, incredible hours, terrible turnover sort of thing, right? Just really ruining not only people's mental health, but their physical health in regards to the amounts of overwork that they're providing for, right? So again, this feels very much like what we've experienced in our own studios here, Hollywood-wise, and Toei very much has a little bit of that on their hands as well. So they're getting it from all fronts, man, from the racist aspect, from the sexual harassment aspect, from just the overworker aspect of things when it comes to putting together these shows. A lot of stuff that Toei is having to handle. This article, when I hear this type of stuff though from like Toei, this just feels like, oh yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. And then we never really hear sort of the end result of any of it. You know what I mean? It says we have received a decision from them to which the said employee filed the complaint, and we are taking steps based off of the decision. So they're not telling us what the decision is, just that a decision has been made and we're going to be working towards it. So I do wish that there was a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Transparency. I do wish there was a little bit more transparency. But when it comes to these big companies, I think sometimes it all becomes about protecting your ass more than anything else. You know what I mean? So still not a good look if you ask me. And I really hope that Toei gets its house in order, honestly. A couple quick questions here. And to be honest with you, I think especially with us closing down shop when it comes to A plus more phenomenal. I think for me personally, I'm probably still very much. I'll probably still watch some tokusatsu shows. But just seeing how, or hearing, I should say, these allegations on how Toei kind of treats some of the people that works for them. Again, I don't know if this has been told on the Super Sentai sets or not, but it feels like a lot of this is really surrounding Kamen Rider, but who knows how far reaching this really does go. So we'll see if they change with the times, man. We'll see. Enrique says Kamen Rider Thouser from Zero One and Kamen Rider GenM's from X8 returning. Can't wait to see the new form. So I'm glad you're excited for it, Enrique. Really glad that this is right up your alley. Shout out to Brendan for certainly coming through. What's up, Brandon? Thank you very much, man. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, I think that wraps up all of our main topics today. So you guys know what time it is. It is time for your live viewer questions that we're certainly set to go ahead and dive into today. And let's see how many questions we have today. Let's see what we got here. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Appreciate you coming through, Brandon. Looks like Brandon's joining us over from YouTube. Always great to have newcomers. Go and bring up these emails. All right. Woo. Y'all not playing around. Ionis, didn't I have I thought I had a thing from you last time. Did I go through it already? I thought I told myself next week we're going to start off with Ionis. Or did I read it already? Oh, with the Dino thing. I think we did do that. Yeah, we did do that. Okay. Good old Jessica Friedman. Do you think one day we'll see a sequel to Forever Red? Wouldn't that be crazy if this is like a sequel to Forever Red and all the characters that we get are all Red Rangers for this 30th anniversary? That would be pretty fucking trippy if it's Forever Red. I don't think so, though. Do I think we'll see a sequel? No, I don't, unfortunately. I don't, Jessica. I'm sorry. Michael Rhymes, my quick overall overview on Super Sentai Strongest Battle, which I loved. You say, though Super Sentai Strongest Battle might have seemed like a late game crossover conceived to both fill time before the newest series and take attention away from the failure of the previous, which was Lupin versus Pat, for some people at least, and the bridge to Rio Soldier, which we all know was love as Dino Fury. And it actually turned out to be one of the most exciting and well thought out crossovers the franchise has had in a long time, as well as paying close attention to previously established continuity. It featured actor cameos, throwbacks to older series, and fun matchups and fantastic fight sequences. The story itself might have been thin on the ground, but as far as sheer entertainment goes, it couldn't be much better. I totally agree with you, Michael. I had a blast watching the crossover, so much to where I think even when we were transferring between Loop and Pat and Real Soldier, I wasn't even sure if I was going to review Super Sentai Strongest Battle, but we definitely decided to go ahead and do so. It was just, I'm so glad I did. It was so good. It was so good. Everybody really brought it. The Luca and Captain Marvelous stuff was great. For me, one of my lasting memories is always going to be Kagura out of that from Tokuger. Her brawl with Doggy Kruger gives me goosebumps as she taps into her strongest girl imagination. I absolutely love that. I absolutely loved how they handled Kagura. But yeah, I agree with you. Creatively, it was amazing. Maybe I wouldn't even say the story itself might have been too thin on the ground, because even just seeing the intricacies of how it was overall connected really went a long way for me. So I would agree with you in general, though. Sheer entertainment, and it couldn't have been much better. So I'm a big fan of it. Joey Thompson, he says uh, Joey Thompson says the amount Hasbro has been forcing MMPR in our faces, it is outstanding how this new reboot will supposedly be 100% original. The mere idea of starting a universe without Mighty Morphin as the baseline feels weird to me, but I'm all for it. As of now, it is indeed up in the air if the reboot will be MMP or not. Anything is possible. Yeah, I mean, I am in the process of believing that it will be MMPR inspired. Like I don't know if it's going to be the exact Zords, the exact costumes. I don't even know if I'm expecting a Zordon. You know what I mean? Um, I would be interested to kind of see how much of a reboot and reimagining that this is truly going to be, and what influences, if anything, are taken from MMPR. I think if there is any influences, it will be MMPR, but we'll see how original it really is. I'm not expecting a copy and paste, and just because it's in modern time. No, I am expecting brand new characters and brand new villains, brand new Zords, maybe just with the term MMPR, maybe some influences from the past connected to the two, but we'll see. That's just the assumption I'm currently under. By the time you read this, Fan First Friday, Tuesday has already happened. Did any cool stuff get revealed when it comes to Power Rangers post MMPR era, or just more MMPR milking as usual? More MMPR milking as usual, with the exception, I think, of the Lord Draken helmet. But I mean, that's Tommy to a certain extent, so there is some there. But I feel like that's extended universe kind of Boom Studios related. But yeah, the Ninja Rangers, MMPR, Power Sword, MMPR, Dragon Zord, MMPR. Yeah, even the Lightning Collection figures, right? Trini and Jason, MMPR. So yeah, MMPR stuff for sure. And it'll still sell, and stuff will be sold out, and it'll still show the sign to Hasbro, MMPR is your moneymaker. I get it. I get that people are tired of it, but people keep buying it. So there's definitely sending those type of signals. What were you initially thoughts when Hasbro announced they were removing all the legacy seasons of Power Rangers and putting it on YouTube? Did removing them pay off, or still an issue? I think it was an issue for me when it was first announced. I was kind of confused, thinking to myself, okay, well, listen, I'm sure you guys are going to move to Netflix at some point in time. You would probably want all your content to be on one particular place. So that was a little bit head scratching at first, but and also I think it hurt them that they took forever to go ahead and drop videos over on YouTube, but they're gotten a lot better. I think they've heard complaints, whether or not they've watched the show, and have heard us and or me specifically say, like, come on, guys, I know you guys can kind of step it up. And they have been. I think they're already over on Lightspeed Rescue. I think pre Lightspeed Rescue, I believe all of those seasons have already been posted up, if I'm not mistaken. Lightspeed Rescue is slowly continuing. I think they dropped like in the 30s, the episodes from the 30s, that batch this past week. So they are building up. So I do think that they have good positive momentum. I think financially, this is probably the better choice for them, because I'm pretty sure they're probably monetizing the shit out of these videos, and based off of their views, I'm sure they're probably maybe getting back maybe even more than what Hasbro was paying them for the rights originally. So I think financially, this is probably the better route. So I'm okay. I feel much better about Power Rangers being on YouTube than I did before when it was originally announced. Now that Power Rangers is moving over to Netflix, I will be interested to kind of see how long before other series are taken off of Netflix, right? Like, I think Ninja Steel is still up there. I don't know what other series might still be up there, with the exception of MMPR. I think MMPR will always stay on Netflix, but I would not be surprised if at some point in time something like a Beast Morphers or a Ninja Steel moves over to YouTube within the next year or so. But I just speculation on my part. But I like the move. I like the move now in hindsight. Adam Perea, quick overview for people who watched Dino Thunder and were very confused. Zeltrax and Tommy's rivalry in Dino Thunder made absolutely no sense thanks to Sentai footage. In the Sentai season, Aber Ranger, the Black Ranger, is always fighting against Zeltrax, in which Zeltrax himself was a cursed armor that possessed people. In the series itself, one of the villains, Lady in Red, turned out to be his wife, who both of them lost their memories after a battle on their home planet. There was an episode towards the end where Black Ranger uses the armor to save his wife after realizing. When it comes to Dino Thunder, though, the thing is, Tommy wasn't directly involved in the creation of Zeltrax at all. Tommy and his old colleagues, Terrence, aka Smitty, who became Zeltrax, was just so happened to know each other and work together on the archaeological dig. That's all. The experiment that almost killed Smitty had nothing to do with Tommy whatsoever. On that note, Zeltrax's personal grudge against Tommy made no sense. Sure, Tommy was chosen to work with Anton over him, and maybe that made Smitty jealous of him. But Zeltrax literally stated to Tommy that Mesogod gave me life. that you stole from me, or something like that. He blames Tommy for an accident that was entirely his own doing. Also, considering that Smitty was able to carry out experiments like the one that nearly killed him, he must have landed a decent job for himself and secured a good amount of funding. So he probably wasn't much worse off than Tommy in terms of success. Yeah, I get what you're saying there for sure. I think sometimes and villains, when they get into a place of power, definitely start misconstruing things to kind of fit their narrative, to kind of give them their purpose. You know what I mean? Seeing things in a completely different filter than what reality presents to us, and something that actually, instead of something that actually really happened, right? I think sometimes they use that animosity and anger, and even if it isn't necessarily directed towards somebody, being able to channel it right towards somebody. um I can maybe see that route also. But you bring up some great points, Adam. Thank you, man. Kurt Marino, Lothor versus Megagog. Lothor is more competent, is a more competent Megagog. It's weird to think Mesogog is considered a more dangerous villain than Lothor, given the latter accomplishes far more. For Lothar, he kidnapped the Wind Ninja students and turned Kanoi into a guinea pig, manipulates the Thunder Rangers to his side, came up with a plan to overflow the abyss of evil with fallen monsters and generals. Even in Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder team up, Lothar is the one doing all the heavy lifting. He breaks out of the abyss with his own power, kidnaps and impersonates Kanoi, and controls the Wind Rangers, only being foiled by Mara and Capri. When it comes to Mesogog, loses the Dino Gems in the first episode and then Dinosaurs in the second one, captures Tommy to make him unlock the Black Dino Gem, only for Tommy to become the Black Ranger, creates an evil Ranger by accident, and then ends up unintentionally turning him good when trying to kill him because he was duped into thinking Trent betrayed him. Contributes almost nothing to the team up between him and Lothar. In the finale, he separates himself from Mercer, which means the Rangers have no reason to hold back when fighting him, and then absorbs Dino Gem energy to become Meso Monster, which makes him vulnerable to the Dino Gems. So that's from good old Kurt Marino. Thank you very much, Kurt, for your thoughts on that. Ibase got a couple questions for us today. Good old Ibase comes through. For the rest of the season 2, do you think we will get the Real Soul Calibur forms for Zato and Ion? Yes, I do. And would it be cool if the other Rangers could use them in brand new footage? Yes, I do. I hope that happens. I do hope that somebody does utilize it. Hell, give it to Amelia. She's notorious for that shit. I know that we already had a glimpse of the Rangers using all the power ups we've got introduced in the series during the backstory of Zato in the first episode, which was shot at the ending of Real Soldier. Also, as for recent episodes, we know Simon loves to have the Rangers use a certain power up and armor instead of just directly using Sentai footage. He also asks, you know how Disney never wanted Power Rangers after purchasing from Saban? Well, with Power Rangers Mystic Force, Disney had teamed up with Toei to create the series. It was a joint project. Oh, well, that's kind of cool to know. But yeah, I definitely know that Disney, when it came to Power Rangers, didn't really know what to do with it. But I got to tell you, man, they did an incredible job. Incredible job for something that nobody really asked for. Jericho, you got a really long I'm let's see what I might come back to that, Jericho. um Francois Francois says, with the breaking news of David Yost potentially returning for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers, if it is for Zoosier, perhaps he'll be brought on as a mentor or guest role like a crossover. I personally am still sour taste from Tommy's 25th anniversary, so my expectations are very, very low at this point. I am, however, very happy that David Yost is returning. If it is true, which means the script must be very good, considering David had expressed many times that he would only return to Power Rangers if Billy as a character is properly respected and gets his hands dirty. But remember, Austin St. John said the same thing when he came back from Beast Morphers, and the script was really enticing, but it really wasn't. We'll see what happens with Hasbro. I didn't mind the recent anniversary that we certainly had, or not the anniversary, but the team up of Austin coming back. I know it was lackluster for some people, but I enjoyed what we did get. Could we have gotten more? Would I have liked to have seen more? Absolutely. But I think what we did get, I was I was certainly happy with. Um, but I think David Yost is probably a lot more protective of not only himself but his Billy legacy. And I think if anything, he really wouldn't come back. Like I just don't know if the same pitch you gave to Austin would return would work on David too. You know what I mean? I think that's a completely different animal in and of itself. So and we'll see. We'll see if Zoo Ozier suits or footage are used at all when it comes to the 30th anniversary. You say, I know the 25th anniversary, the show's still owned by Saban and or Nickelodeon, but if we get the same writers back for the anniversary, I don't want to be disappointed again if it's another Sentai adaptation where Sentai footage is required for the modern day crossover. Don't get me wrong, Becca and Alwyn have done an incredible job with Dino Fury, but I don't want them to go back to their old ways with another crossover. If it is what we get, if Simon Bennett returns as a showrunner for the 30th anniversary, Francois, have some faith, man. Have some faith. I don't think Becca and Alwyn have done us wrong. If you ask me, since their time on Beast Morphers, I mean, I know Dino Fury has shown them in even better light, but I thought they did a pretty decent job when it comes to Beast Morphers of showcasing that they can change and that they can improve. I feel like they've gone from Beast Morphers to Dino Fury and have shown that improvement. Granted, I don't know who they're going to bring in for the 30th anniversary or not, but if they did bring them in based off of what they're doing now, I don't have any reason to believe going into the 30th anniversary that they aren't going to still put their best foot forward. Um, I think the fact that we are on Netflix now, I think helps considerably. The fact that we're getting shorter episodes means that we can focus more on the story that we certainly want to tell. So I think we're in a much different position than where we were for something like the 25th anniversary or the legendary battle that really puts Becca and Alwyn in a much more comfortable position to be at their most creative. So whether or not Simon Bennett comes back again, we don't know who the writers are going to be. But if it's Becca and Alwyn again, I'm going to give them a shot because I think they've shown over the past 2 seasons they can improve and give us better quality stuff than what we've seen them capable of doing in the past. I get the hesitation, I really do, but I get it. Well, I think I already. Ionis, did you post something already today, Ionis? No, did I miss it? Okay. Ionis. I mean, he says unpopular opinion, MMPR is overrated. I feel like this opinion of a lot. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion though. You said MMPR is great, if not for its success. Maybe the Power Rangers season I love wouldn't have been made, but that doesn't mean it's the best or the epitome of Power Rangers. It has its flaws in story arcs and characters. I got sick and tired of seeing MMPR always being like a poster child for the long running franchise, which is nothing wrong, especially since it's the first one. I sort of dislike the special treatment it gets just because it was one of the first to be adapted, whether it be the toy line, conventions, or cosplay. I grew up in the Disney era, the Power Rangers series, which I grew up where SPD, Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, Jungle Fury, just to name a few. And it really makes me sad that some of my favorite are undermined and overshadowed by the mountain that is MMPR. To conclude this, I just want to say I don't hate MMPR. For me, they're just not the best or the legendary Rangers. There have been seasons that are way better than theirs and still don't get half the attention. It's so sad that even today with the Power Ranger Dino Fury, it still gets no love from Hasbro when it comes to toys or being first in line, though I'm thankful they have been doing a tremendous job with the show itself. They broke barriers and changed the envelope. Thank you very much for your thoughts, Ionis. Always appreciate your opinion, sir. Most definitely. When it comes to Dino Fury, I would mind seeing Dino Fury treated a little bit better, especially when it comes to the toy side of things. But I do think Dino Fury also finds itself in a position of, you're kind of like almost the last season that we're going to be getting in the sense of how Power Rangers has been this entire time. And again, I do think that the attention that Hasbro has right now is very much in trying to build this cinematic universe for Power Rangers kind of going forward. So I do think that a lot of maybe what's at the tail end here of Power Rangers in this iteration maybe just isn't unfortunately getting the recognition that it deserves. Whether or not I mean that, whether or not Hasbro didn't expect it to be as popular as it was, who knows? It definitely felt like they still put their best foot forward in regards to getting the right man for the job to do it. But I do think it's maybe the idea of Hasbro looking forward instead of looking towards what it has right now. But listen, I get what you mean when you say Power Rangers. I don't think MMPR is the best season ever whatsoever. I I will push back on the idea. While I can't categorize them as best, I definitely do categorize them as legendary. And I think this just comes from the idea of just us being two different age ranges. You know, my Power Rangers being original Saban era, yours being Disney era, right? So we all automatically come into the franchise at completely different points in life. So our very first introduction and first team, right? Like they may hold a much bigger significance to us than a team that we haven't even really grew up on or had the opportunity to explore. So I definitely get that. I think the disassociation really comes with the lack of or the gap in age and when people actually do jump into the fandom. So I'm in agreement with you in the sense that MMPR is definitely not the best. I definitely have seen my fair share of seasons. It's definitely not even in my top 5, honestly. But as far as legendary Rangers go, yeah, man, I can't take that legendary status away from them. But I get it, and I'm sure you trust me when I say you are not the only fan, man, that's tired of just seeing MMPR and the other seasons that you love not focused on. Um, oh, Jericho does have a backup question if this other one was a little too long. Let me see. I am gonna hold off on these though, real quick, Jericho. I may go back to the other one. We'll see. Give me a second. Nicole, what's up, Nicole? Hey, y'all. Hope you're doing well. What do you think of some of the Ranger fandom always asking for more dark Power Rangers or more mature? Do you think it has to do with people's displeasure of Neo Saban era seasons being too goofy and treating children like they're not smart? Yeah, really, I do. I think it's a combination of that, and I think it's also just a combination of your audience has gotten older. You know, there are older audience members that still enjoy the fandom. And I think when you're Hasbro, there does have to be an understanding of making content for them also. If you truly want to be able to capture not just children's imaginations, but the previous fans that have been with you for the past 20 plus years, sort of thing, and even general audience, I do think that you have to make something significantly different than just kids programming to truly draw its fullest potential out of it. And so there is a part of me that thinks that while yes, the kid stuff has become too goofy and they're treating children like they're not necessarily the smartest, I do think that's one of the reasons for people having an appetite for something more. But I think it's just us getting older and wanting to see more well told and just smarter stories. You know, I know people say dark and more mature, but I think what they really mean is just don't treat us like kids. You know, I don't necessarily know if they mean blood and guts and curses and boobs, or I don't think that's really what people mean so much as I think they just want Power Rangers to maybe take itself a little bit more seriously. You know what I mean? And I think that's really the extent of it. But thank you, Nicole, for that. We got Jackson Peterson. Man, you guys coming up with these long things, guys. I cannot with all these questions that we're having now. We cannot have 3, 4 paragraph long stuff. Kevin Richardson. Go Andra and RPM are like chocolate and cheese. Okay, Kevin. RPM took a lot of elements from Go Andra and made a gritty dystopia narrative out of it with some meta winks and nudges, as well as that a lot of PR fans consider their favorite season that isn't in Space or Time Force. Go Andra itself is incredibly lighthearted and silly a majority of the time with the echo or eco message. What does this tell you about adapting a goofy series from Super Sentai and turning it into something incredible with Power Rangers? Um, I think it can work. I mean, I look at something like a Car Ranger from Super Sentai, and that was lighthearted and goofy. And unfortunately for them, when they adapted it into Turbo, they took a lot of that with it, and then unfortunately just didn't work. So I wonder if the idea of adapting Go Wanger, I wonder if they learned their lesson in Turbo and remembered that debacle, and decided to go ahead and take a completely different path. So yeah, they did a really great job. RPM is definitely up there for people, and you can certainly see why. It's not very easy to take adaptation like that and turn it into Power Rangers. So the fact that RPM was able to do that off of the Sentai footage that they have, kudos to them, man, for being able to do that. Again, for a company in Disney that didn't even really know what to do with Power Rangers, still being able to push out some amazing series. It blows my mind. Let's see here. Alexander. What's up, Alexander Rosario? Appreciate you coming through. He says, you may have already discussed this, but with David Yost returning, do you think it will be for Quantum Continuum or maybe a Zoologia adaptation from Super Sentai? We know David has been pumping us up on social media with his scripts, so it could be it. If not, and it's for another Sentai adaptation, I would hope he would be a mentor like Tommy was in Dino Thunder. I don't want to see another veteran Ranger only will show up for one episode and leave and not have any real payoff to the character we've all known and loved. So I'm under the impression that the 30th anniversary is not Quantum Continuum. I do think it's going to be a collaboration of mostly original footage. Whether or not that's going to be the Zoologia adaptation that we've heard inklings and rumors about, we'll definitely have to see. There was even rumors and speculation that maybe even a Zenkaiju suit pops up in there. I have no idea how that works out. But right now, I'm kind of under the impression that 30th anniversary may be a Zoologia adaptation of some sort if they wanted to do it. But again, I'm not expecting a ton of Super Sentai footage. I am kind of expecting I think even the Luminardi article mentioned the idea of primarily original footage. How much footage is not explained. But I think that 30th anniversary is something else other than Quantum Continuum. If not, and it's for another Sentai adaptation, I don't think Quantum Continuum will be an adaptation either. I think if anything, Quantum Continuum will be its own original revival series. So I'm not expecting that to be adapted from anything else. Again, when it comes to the 30th anniversary, will there be some Sentai footage? Maybe minor. I am expecting it to be primarily, though, American footage. So I think we're getting past a lot of the Sentai adaptations, or at least relying heavily on them in an opportunity to be able to create more original content. I know you say you don't want to see your veteran Ranger show up for only one episode and leave. In this case, I think with David, that's probably what we'll get for the 30th anniversary. But I think we're so used to getting 20-minute episodes and expecting characters to be underutilized in that time. The fact that we're now looking at potentially 44-minute episodes, I think the idea of keeping a character around for maybe one-off episode can really go a long way if you utilize the time right. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But thank you, Alexander. Arturo, what's up, Arturo? What do you think, or have you seen the Weird Japanese Ranger series Waku Saver? And has there been any new one that came out? Is it good to watch, or is it even weird? Even the previous Sentai series that you really did not like. So Waku Saver is by a different company. It's not by Toei. I believe it's called Giga Tokusatsu or Giga. They actually specialize in adult entertainment. Giga does. But they also happen to play in the realm of tokusatsu. Some of their adult content is that of tokusatsu. There definitely are some tokusatsu elements when it comes to Waku Saver, where it attempts to be a Sentai series of some sort, but there definitely are teases of adult themes, maybe more flesh to certainly say being told in these stories. These are very amateur series in the sense that, production wise, they may not come close to what you would see in Kamen Rider or Super Sentai. It feels very fan filmy if you will. The costume designs are fantastic. If there is anything positive, super great when it comes to the costume designs. Waku Saver does have 2 seasons. I only think they only carried like 4 or 5, maybe 6 episodes. They're not very long, easily digestible. If you want to, would I recommend them? I mean, listen, if you're not offended by flesh, if you're not offended by lack of storytelling, this is just something that you dabble in to certainly kind of check out. For me, it stopped holding my attention when I realized it was only 4 episodes long, and the finale of these shows come in the form of adult entertainment, and by that I mean like porn. You know what I mean? Um, the climax of the series is literally probably a climax. I've never I've never watched the finale just because of the fact that it's just never been safe for work. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, you're definitely getting to more mature storytelling, and that's not really why I was focusing on Waku Saver. I was really fascinated by the costumes and really wanted to see, like, does Giga is Giga going to take themselves seriously when creating these sort of tokusatsu stories? It feels like they could if they really wanted to, but it feels like these are more teases to lead into their more adult entertainment, inappropriate finales. You know what I mean? So probably not best to fully invest in it, but if you want to give it a shot, certainly leave that up to you. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? Um, we all know that Hasbro always makes MMPRs the main representation of Power Rangers since their acquisition. Does this tell you about the future of Power Rangers under Hasbro, and if Hasbro will even keep the franchise for a few years, even with the new reimagining universe in the works? Either it does very well or it becomes a huge miss. I mean, yeah, that's the chance that anybody really takes when they put new content out there. It could be hit or miss, and I think this is why we haven't heard too much about it from Hasbro yet, because they want to make sure that all their ducks are certainly in a row. And when you're trying to create such a big endeavor like this, you just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page so it does not fail. So I do think that they'll keep their hands on it for a few years. I do really love that they made a very excellent choice with Dino Fury, like moving over to Netflix. But this still makes Hasbro not appreciate all the other series that followed after. I get it. MMPR is their money making machine. It was the very first series. You can easily tell where Hasbro does not give enough love. Fan First Fridays, slowly putting the old legacy seasons on YouTube, except for MMPR. Not even promoting enough Dino Fury during Fan First, though Hasbro Pulse have been amazing. And I really do feel like this is a case of, again, I mentioned this before, the idea of knowing as a company that you're moving on to other things. I think this is maybe just a trickling out, a liquidation, if you will, of the past Power Ranger franchise, and a lot of their attention being thrusted into other areas of Power Rangers at this particular point in time. So, I think fans will continue to be disappointed. If you're a legacy fan, I will say this: hold on to a lot of your physical copies of your Disney era Power Rangers stuff, because I believe, and I hope I'm wrong, but I believe that this is probably the last time that stuff will be referenced. Um, if you were upset before of Hasbro maybe not focusing on these other legacy shows, I think you'll be even more upset when we get the reboot and reimagining, because a reboot and reimagining shouldn't and probably doesn't consist of Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, Wild Force. I think the time has passed for a lot of those series, and I know it's hard for some people to accept, but I think this is Hasbro literally looking towards the future. I mean, maybe they'll continue to, I don't know what the toy side of things is looking like. Whether or not they're still going to produce legacy stuff at a snail's pace. But when they are changing trajectory to making new stars and new shows be the mainstream thing, I think that's where a lot of their focus is going to be. And if you are fans of the legacy stuff, keep your fingers crossed, I guess. That's just the mentality that I'm in right now when I'm thinking about all this stuff, is that I just feel like they feel maybe there's more attention that deserves to be put on the entertainment instead of focusing so much on the past. But maybe that's just me. Mackenzie has a what if Blade and Roxy moment. She says, remember the what if episode of Beast Morphers when Blaze and Roxy mind swapped the entire city and made them think that they were the Red and Yellow Rangers instead of Zoe and Devin? Don't you wish it was written a little bit better? Like actually how Devin and Zoe either never met each other or made them switch personalities with Blaze and Roxy. It would have been so cool seeing Ravi, Commander, and Nate not realize their own team members were double agents. Oh yeah, I do remember that episode. This would be very similar story to the 10th anniversary movie for Hurricaneger from Super Sentai. Steel himself would have been captured. Blaze and Roxy, knowing he's half robot, he couldn't tell anybody about his memories being intact, would even be a better lead into season 2. Some good points there. I wonder why the flash drive that evil Roxy had put into the control panel next to human Roxy was forgotten. I remember you wanting human Blaze and Roxy to still be their normal selves, but with the evil consciousness implanted in them. Yeah, I thought that they brought that up. I mean, I thought they did realize it. I thought it was Nate or somebody realized the drive still stuck inside of there, but maybe I'm wrong, or maybe she took the drive with her when she left. But yeah, I just thought the Blaze and Roxy stuff was a little bit of mishandled towards the second season for sure. I'm very excited to ask you. AJ has a couple of wrap up questions. I'm going to ask you anyway, but are you impressed as I am that Dino Fury actually wrapped up Javi and Warden's storyline? It was a storyline I was really looking forward to since season 1 to dive back into, so I'm so super glad that they did. Javi finally called out his dad for how he's been treating him since season 1. Does this tell you that Beck and Alwyn learned from Beast Morphers and Neo Saban when it came to consistent storytelling? Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Did you draw drop with how Santora turned into Void Queen and that Void Knight himself never actually wanted to hurt anyone, but just wanted to save her so they can come home? What do you think when Santora meant by revenge? That's the big question. Yeah, my jaw did drop. I was kind of pumped to kind of see the idea of Santora taking matters into her own hands and turning things around for herself. I actually thought that was pretty cool. And seeing Tarek's expression, shout out to Jared Turner for doing an amazing job. But yeah, it just goes to solidify Void Knight's past, his true intentions. And now I'm wondering, are you going to ask the Power Rangers for help? You might want to. As far as revenge, that I don't know. She wants revenge on the humans. That's why I'm really hoping for a flashback sequence. You guys know I love flashback sequences. It's a great lore, it's great world building, and fills in so much of the gaps. It really helps push the story forward. And I feel like we definitely still have some questions. And so I would love to. We actually got the reason to why Void Knight wears this helmet when around the villains in order to stay in control of them, not even knowing that he looks human. The shot when Centaur revealed herself as Void Queen, for a split second, we all thought Tarek became Real Soldier Brown, perhaps in this backstory or immediately in season 2, but it was actually just the lighting. This is just me, but maybe seeing the armor brown was a slight nod to Real Soul Brown. Now, I still think that was just the lighting. I do think that we'll get the brown armor for sure. I think it's just too good of an armor not to utilize. It does make me wonder if that's something that Tarek will now eventually rock himself, or if there's another side character that's going to pick up the mantle. But I thought from the trailer that it was just the lighting. But yeah, just seeing the scene itself, it definitely was the lighting. Johnny, what's up, Johnny? Are you excited about Billy coming back for the 30th anniversary? I'm super stoked. I'm hoping that they do fill in some blanks, give him some storylines as to what he's been up to since his time in Aquitar. I do hope that he gets to reference also some of the past legendary Rangers from his past team also. So yeah, just give me a little bit of what he's been up to fill in those blanks. really have him have an impactful moment in this series and maybe lead into a Quantum Continuum, his own series, I think would be really cool to kind of see them pull something else off like that. But just his return alone, I think, is huge for Power Rangers, and really is a proper coming full circle, if you ask me. Because honestly, it is one of those things too where I think Power Rangers needs to redeem itself for the way that it treated David Yost. And I know we've got new management on board and things like that too, but David Yost was treated like shit back in the 90s. And it is one of those things now where I think Power Rangers owes it to him to do him justice, whether that be for the Billy character or at least give David Yost something he could really sink his teeth into and enjoy. I think they owe him that at least. How many episodes do you think the new season will be? 12 or 13? I'm going way under. I'm going 6 to 8. I'm going 6 to 8. Do you think Billy's appearance on the 30th anniversary season will lead to Quantum Continuum? If we're trying to be creative, I think it would be really cool. I mean, if we're really trying to think outside the box and do something different, I do think that there is a place where you can have this 30th anniversary tease and lead into, say, something of Jonathan Entwistle stuff, but also tease, especially if David's only in one episode, maybe on his departure, tease where he's going, and we catch up with his adventures after this 30th anniversary, maybe into the MMPR, or, the constant quantum continuum thing. I don't know. I haven't seen David's full script on it or anything like that, but I do think that there's possibilities. Possibilities. Again, I don't know if they're so far along that they can't pull the trigger on some of these things, but I think there's a possibility. Jamari, what's up, Jamari? Appreciate you coming through. Oh, that's way too long, Jamari. I'm gonna have to come back. I'm gonna have to call you back. Come back. Jam. I have seen you on here, apparently, Jam before. Thank you very much, man. I'm gonna hold this as a new though. I'm gonna try and go through some of these other ones that are pretty short and see if we can come back around to some of these long ones. Marcelino, which Power Ranger that you did not like or wasn't the biggest fan of do you want to see return for the upcoming 30th anniversary special, so that way their character can receive better writing to make them better character? Probably Andrew. I would be open to Andrew certainly returning if that's the route that he wanted to go. Yeah, probably Andrew. Skylar, if the Power Ranger 2017 movie did actually went all out with the last hour, don't you think the movie would still bomb at the box office because it's still Power Rangers at the end of the day anyways? And even if the design stayed intact, like the Iron Man suits, atrocious designs for Goldar and not speaking. Let me see something here real quick. So if the Power Rangers 2017 movie did actually go through with the last half of it and give us everything that we wanted it to, right? They actually went all out with the last half. Don't you think the movie would have still bombed because it's still Power Rangers at the end of the day anyways? That would emphasize the idea that people kind of listen, so that kind of implies the idea that Power Rangers is already corny. So that's the mentality that people already have about Power Rangers, right? So it doesn't matter what you put up there, the fact that it's Power Rangers, and people probably look at it as a kid show, stupid, corny, anyway, sort of thing. It's kind of the same. I just want to comment on the Fan First Tuesday thing again, real quick. It kind of, that Fan First Tuesday kind of also didn't do Power Rangers any favors in regards to the levels of cringe and corniness that it was. I know sometimes that I think it's cool to make fun of Power Rangers because it can be corny at times, right? But I think the idea of then putting together a presentation for a Fan First Tuesday that was so corny, it felt like it really dove into the stigmas that are already surrounding Power Rangers and just kind of enforced it even more, to then continue to make Power Rangers even that more cringeworthy and more comedic and not to be taken seriously. You know what I mean? So again, I really don't think the Fan First Tuesday really did the Power Ranger line any services by just the lack of effort. But going back to what you were saying, so The budget for the movie for Power Rangers was $100 million, right? Usually you probably want to double that or maybe even triple that based off of what marketing certainly might be like, when it comes to budget, what marketing costs are like, and then also the cut that the studios have to pay or that the theaters take from the gross, right? So when it comes to budgets, so like $100 million, you would probably want this movie in return to probably do 200 million or at least 250 million to even warrant the idea of, probably closer to 250 million to even warrant the idea of a sequel, right? So when you say if the Power Ranger movie 2017 did everything, like went all out, don't I think that the movie would have still bombed at the box office? No, I don't. Do I think that this movie would have made $500,000? Probably not. Do I think that this movie probably would have made $400,000? Probably not. Or excuse me, $400 million? Probably not. But if this movie could have made 250 million, $300 million, worldwide it made $142 million. So it surpassed its budget, but again, I'm sure marketing probably cost $50 million. I'm sure the cost that you had to pay to theaters, or you know what I mean, after your gross that you made, all of that just shows the movie didn't make enough. It didn't make enough. So I think had you put it all in there, again, I don't think it would have done blockbusters at the box office. I don't think it would have made $1 billion or $750 million. But if you told me Power Rangers could have walked out of the box office with almost $300 million or at about $300 million, yeah, we would have gotten ourselves a sequel. And I think we probably could have gotten there had that second half uh, done more. I really would have think so. I think word of mouth alone probably would have helped this movie garner more money in the box office. If let me see here, we got Morris. If Jason, Zach, and Trini never left, would Zio have flipped the colors? What would the show be like had they left the show? What would the show be like if they hadn't left the show? And do you think it's possible we wouldn't even get new cast changes for every season after MMPR and even Turbo? I know Saban followed what Super Sentai had been doing with annual cast changes. You know, that's a good question. Do you think it's possible we wouldn't even get new cast members for every season had MMPR after MMPR and even Turbo? That's a good question. I mean, I do think we would have eventually have gotten new Rangers, but probably not until Turbo. You know, I think they probably would have stuck with this whole entire crew through all of MMPR, through all of Zio, and then maybe switch it up, maybe towards the yeah, maybe towards the end. I can see that. I can see that. Let's see here. L'Oreal. I knew Warden Buzzkill was a dingus, but this takes the cake, doesn't it? Oh, in this week's episode, yeah, absolutely. When Javi stood up to his dad, Jizo Jody, I never thought I'd see the day when he would do that. Best part of the episode, oh yeah, hands down, hands down. The rock band scene here almost got me thinking of how our Tokujers could use the theme of Two Mighty Morphin to break the Nightmares Empire spell. That would be pretty epic. But yeah, it was definitely the best part of the episode for me too. The Garcia's family Garcia stuff. Doomsday. What do you think was the most cringiest moment in all of Power Rangers? Probably Leo ripping off his shirt in Lost Galaxy. No, I mean I'm sure the ladies ate it up, but I'm like, damn, bro, really? You taking off your shirt too? Didn't I just see Cole take off his damn shirt too? Is this what we just turned into Chippendales out here? No, what is it? Most cringiest moment in all of Power Rangers? God, anything Vic and Monty related probably might take the cake. Um, yeah, I'm thinking of a bunch of Vic and Monty moments. some Ben and Betty moments. I feel like anything comedy duo related could probably take the cake for cringiest moments. If you think of I will throw this to you guys to think of a cringy moment outside of a comedic duo. Outside of a comedic duo. Aber Singh, what's up, Aber Singh? He says, is it true that David Yost may be returning for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers? Yes, according to the Illuminati, whose sources have tended to be pretty accurate when it comes to Power Rangers. If so, do you think he will actually have a much better and significant role, even if it is only for one episode? I feel like he really needs to have a real comeback since he left during Zeo. I think he might get it. I think he might get it. Again, we've mentioned the idea that when it comes to David Yost, he is very protective, I'm sure, of himself, along with the Billy character. So if there is the fact of him coming back, it gives me confidence, at least, that what he read means that his role is significant. So I do think that it will be much better role this time around. Are you confident about his return? Do you think Simon Bennett will return as a showrunner for the 30th anniversary? That's really where my question mark is. I feel like everything that I've seen so far, Simon Bennett has very much been saying his farewells. I think he did a great thank you sort of letter last week out to the cast and crew. It felt like his time on the show had kind of come to the end and he was moving on to other things. I know he said that very early on in an interview with Den of Geek this past March, I believe, when the second half or the first half of Dino Fury season 2 wind up dropping. He did a bit of an interview, and it felt very much like he was wrapping up his time on the show. So I don't know if he comes back, but for 30th anniversary for this, a shorter season, I keep my fingers crossed, man. I really would like him to come back. Not sure if this will be new Sentai adaptation or all new original. If Simon and the writers return, do you think they can do David justice? I know we have the same people writing since the Neo Saban era. Simon already left a huge impression on me with how incredible he's been doing with Dino Fury. So I am in agreement. I think Simon Bennett has improved since Beast Morphers. The writers have improved since Beast Morphers, especially since the Neo Saban era. And these are the same writers who continue to show improvement and show me that Saban and maybe Nickelodeon was very much the issue. And ever since they've been under Hasbro, under the watch of Simon Bennett, even Chip Lynn, they really have put their best foot forward and taken off their creative handcuffs. So I do think that they can do David justice if that's them certainly returning. Again, we are waiting for details as to who the crew is going to be for this 30th anniversary, but I am keeping my fingers crossed. I did have somebody say something to me, not directly saying Simon Bennett's coming back, but they have mentioned something to me that makes me think that if anybody will come back, it'll be Simon Bennett and his team. So I don't know. I really don't know though. At the end of the day, it's 3:07 right now. Okay, yeah, I probably should be wrapping this up. There are a couple things here. Jericho. I will do this real quick, Jericho, and this will be the last one. If you guys did have other emails that I've missed, I will save those for next week because some of them were relatively long, but I will end on Jericho Gonzalez. He says, I'm really sorry for how long this is, but I feel some people need to know about comedy duos and Power Rangers since the beginning and how they should have been done. When it comes to comedy duos, obviously Bulk and Skull are the kings of comedy and Power Rangers. Both actors have great comedic timing, both verbally and physical. I agree with you there. Cassidy and Devin and Dino Thunder were known as the best comedy duo since Bulk and Skull, where they both fit in naturally. For these two, their comedy always had to do with being bumbling news reporters who are just thing to report news on monster attacks, and most often they find themselves in unexpected situations like trying to take an inside scoop during a monster attack. Finding the Rangers' identities wasn't for any selfish gain, but to save their jobs. He also says originally the first episode of the series, Cassidy always wanted people at her high school and her job seriously. More often, Cassidy was just very unlikely at times. What was unique about Devin and Cassidy being the funny ones were that the background music never really changed the momentum of the episode, even when they're just talking like regular people. Their comedy even got them to learn and appreciate the Power Rangers, becoming their allies and sticking up for them, most notably in the Fighting Spirit episode. Not worth wasting my breath on Victor and Monty and not Ninja Steel. Ben and Betty and Beast Morphers were a great improvement over the past previous two, but still got in the way of serious moments. Even their own background music constantly changed and often made them look bad when trying to be serious and not thinking straight. I agree with you there for sure. Jane and Jay Borg, they have been a huge breath of fresh air in Dino Fury, just like Devin and Cassidy. Their main shenanigans had to do with working at a social media agency. Jay Borg, being an android, allowed her to do things that never really made sense with Victor and Monty. And Ben and Benny, like physical comedy that usually only happens in cartoons. Their background music happens depending on the setting or not at all. Some great points there in regards to the comedy duo. So thank you very much, Jericho. I really appreciate that. So right now it looks as though I've got Jackson Peterson with the Jason is a better Tommy. That's not too long. Can I knock that out? I'll knock that out too, Jackson. Jason is a better leader because of his character. He mentored Billy by helping him through his anxieties and made him a better fighter. Among the OG5, Jason was the only one who believed in Zordon in the beginning. He convinced the others to become Power Rangers, and bam, they all followed his lead, not because of the color and his suit, but because of his character. He took charge because he was built to be the leader. Tommy became the leader because ASJ left. Prior to that, as the Green Ranger, he was a forgetful guy who was always late. The guy was forgetting morphers and communications left and right. Even during the first episode after he became the White Ranger, he forgot his date with Kim. Jason was all about teamwork. He lifted his fellow Rangers up all the time. He was always the better leader who cared about the team more than he cared about himself. He was able to bring the toughness and respect without overshadowing anybody else. Tommy as MMPR White, and to a certain degree as Zeo, always put more effort into himself than his team after hogging the spotlight because he was suddenly as overpowered as MMPR White. As Turbo Red, he was barely there. TJ as Turbo Red arguably did a better job of leading the Turbo Rangers than Tommy. I would give you that. Once Jason, Zach, and Trini left, MMPR was basically Tommy Oliver and his 5 friends. The 95 movie was even worse. Only Tommy was able to do anything except for Aisha, who pushed a button and need Ivan in a certain place. Jason was the archetype as a leader, the solid core and foundation of his team, who was able to make the personalities of his teammates shine. When Tommy became leader, the show was no longer about a group of heroes. It was about Tommy and his friends. It's a shame both Austin and JDF don't get along in real life, but at least respect each other when it comes to being role models to the kids. Their reunion in Forever Red and the 2017 movie reboot will always be amazing. Absolutely. It's always great when we do get the opportunity to see those two together. And I do wish that we got the opportunity to see a little bit more of them also. But yeah, guys, great thoughts, man. I love your point of views and thoughts on Jason. I've always been a really big Jason fan. I really have never had a problem with Tommy as a leader, but that is really the big thing, right? Jason and Tommy, who's certainly the better leader. I think Boom Studios did a great job in regards to forging that relationship, especially some of the uncertainty that Tommy had in regards to being a leader. Granted, if you want to take that as canon or not, or just what you watch in the television shows, I'm just saying I think Boom Studios did a really great job of at least adding to that very topic that you're kind of pointing out here in regards to what makes a great leader and if Jason was a better one than him. So I've always really loved Jason as the leader of the team. For me, I don't think I really took Tommy seriously as the leader until he became Zeo Red, because I've always just seen Red very much as the leader. Like, even though I know Rocky took over the spot as Austin and Red, that's probably the one time I did not see it as the leader. Clearly, Tommy was the leader of that particular group, but I don't think I really started respecting Tommy. I mean, I think he did some amazing things, as Green and as White. That's what we mostly recognize him for. But I do love me some Tommy as Zeo Red, man. I think for me is the first time that I really was like, okay, now you're in the leadership group. Now that you've had or now that you've had Red, you know what I mean, as your significant color. But yeah. Datilla says, I wish I would have found your channel earlier, Adam. Well, hey, you're here now, Datilla, so thank you very much. But yeah, I appreciate all the confident words you guys are saying. I appreciate it. All the supportive words, I should say. But yeah, guys, I think other than that, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us here Nicole did say I might be in the minority, but we have not seen any of the guys in Beast Morphers or Dino Fury check off their shirts yet. We know Jordan, Jazz, Russell, Chance are have all have bodies. Yeah, Jazz, man, Jazz looks like he's about to explode any minute. That man is so jacked at this point. But yeah, guys, go ahead and let me know your thoughts in regards to any of the questions, any of the topics that we definitely talked about today. Remember, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A plus opinions, but I always want to go ahead and know yours. So what do you guys think of all the topics that we talked about? Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. It definitely does go a long way in regards to the algorithm when you guys leave thoughts behind. And we'll definitely go ahead and continue our conversation until next week. Remember, guys, we do have ourselves a Don Brother review headed your way later on this week, so look out for that. If we do get big Power Ranger news that drops throughout the week, we'll certainly go ahead and let you know. If not, we'll certainly see you guys next Saturday, as we've got 5 more weeks, it feels like, of A plus more phenomenal to look forward to. So in the meantime, guys, do me a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you guys later. May the power protect you. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.